Foreplay, presented by Barstool Sports. Huge week, I would say, for everything that this show is about. The Waste Management Phoenix Open, the WM Phoenix Open, a little bit of a rebrand there. I was there the entire week. Lurch was there for the first time in his life, and I would say that from a media standpoint, the tournament was amplified more so than it's ever been, which, again, I think is a great sign for us. One of our guys, Scottie Scheffler, who follows Barstool maybe more than anyone else in the world without trying to make people know that he follows Barstool, wins the tournament. A couple aces. I think we're going to have Sam Ryder on this very show to break down the first ace, I think since like 2015 or so was the first ace of the Waste Management. It was on Saturday. Then we had the Charley Hoffman thing, complaining about a rule, and then invoking the Saudis and tagging Riggs Barstool. So there's a lot to get to per usual. We got the whole squad for now. It's myself, Trent, Frankie, and Lurch. Boys, hello. How are we?
Fantastic.
Good.
Charley Hoffman tagged you in that tweet?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Crazy. You didn't see that?
You didn't see that?
I did. I saw the tweet. And I saw he tagged Saudis, and then I didn't see that he tagged Riggs Barstool. I just missed that.
Frankie, let me show you this. He tagged, and this is why it led to Phil Mickelson saying, "We'll let you handle this one, Riggs." He tagged Golf Channel, Golf Digest, DP World Tour, the Saudis, Barstool Sports, Riggs Barstool, ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS, and NBC.
Oh boy. Yeah, no.
So you're the only individual that he tagged.
Correct.
No Golf Channel? Golf Channel didn't get a tag?
I believe I said Golf Channel. Golf Channel was the first one I said.
Oh, okay, sorry. But
yeah, so
all right, okay. So Riggs, what are you gonna do about it? What are you doing to help Charley Hoffman?
Max Homa, who we're going to play very soon in a 4-man scramble, he texted me that night and said, "Good luck, Riggs. You have been you've been enlisted now. You've been requested as the guy that's going to save the PGA Tour from all outside threat." So, Commissioner of Barstool Classic, I don't know if that necessarily qualifies you for such an important task, but an amazing really thing that happened with Charley Hoffman, the reaction, which I think was a dramatic overreaction from a lot of the golf journos and the blue check marks, but also kind of a crazy statement and tweet and Instagram from him. So that might be, it feels like, the sixth thing that we're going to talk about because there's so many things to get to. Tommy Fleetwood. So Tuesday night, tonight, YouTube, we've been hawking our YouTube channel a lot lately. It's very important to us. But tonight, 8, do we know what time it's coming out?
8 p.m.
Eastern Standard Time. We have our first video from our, Foreplay is Tailor-Made Season 2 season. We have like 18 videos, so 18 straight weeks of videos that we filmed very recently with all the new Tailor-Made stuff, with all of their athletes. We have Tommy Fleetwood, a short game lesson. Sneaky and subtly one of the funnier people that we deal with in a very, again, sort of dry, subtle way. Tommy Fleetwood cracks me the fuck up.
Yeah, we got a text from our guy eBug who said that. And when we're filming it, like everything's happening so fast and we're still kind of nervous to be around a guy like Tommy Fleetwood. You don't want to say something stupid. But Bug texted us and said, Tommy Fleetwood is sneaky the funniest guy we've ever had on any of our YouTube videos. And I could definitely see it. And especially for a guy like Bug is editing that, so he's seeing that footage over and over and over again. So if he's still, after all that, being like, oh, Tommy is actually really funny, Tommy must be really funny. And Tommy seemingly loves us. Every time we're with him, we have a great time. So all the videos are going to be great. And we're starting with Tommy, and those are going to be fantastic.
We had a really awkward first start with Tommy Fleetwood in our relationship with him. It was that
you did that, not that's more a you thing.
So for years I said that Tommy Fleetwood just fucks. He looks like a guy that fucks.
Oh, yeah.
He fucks all around. He fucks everything that he sees. He fucks on the golf course, off the golf course. He's just a guy that fucks, You place that guy in 1962 in London. He's carrying a guitar walking down the street. You might as well just put him in the fucking Beatles. I mean, that guy would have, he was born in the wrong era with his little lanky look, his the tight little ass, and he's got that hair flowing. So I've always said that about him. Pebble Beach, U.S. Open. We're standing behind the 18th green. He just walked off. We had someone come over and say, "Hey guys, we got Tommy Fleetwood for you," and we were like, "Holy fuck, it's time!" I remember it as clear as day. Ryan Whitney was with us. He was at the U.S. Open that week, and he stood there and watched us interview Tommy Fleetwood, and he's like, "This is a huge one for you boys." He gave us all fist bumps. We go and interview Tommy Fleetwood. we're looking out at the cameraman, and then behind the cameraman is Whitney staring at us, being like all bright-eyed, saying, "Come on, let's go, let's go." First thing I say to Tommy Fleetwood is, "I just gotta say, man, you fuck." And it just did not hit. It was a swing and a miss. He's like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. And I remember looking at Whitney being like, did this guy just say Tommy Fleetwood fucks right through his face? He was crying, laughing in the back, saying, what an absolute clown show I'm watching here behind 18 at Pebble. So yeah, really
that
rocky
line needs
start.
a little banter. You need a little rapport there to drop that in somebody's mug first time.
It was, listen, I was very new to it. It was my first time really trying to get into the mix with these guys at a tournament.
You took a swing.
I took a swing and I missed. You know, in baseball, you can miss 7 out of 10 times and be a Hall of Famer.
Somebody handed you the bat. They put you at the fucking plate, and you said, well, since I'm here, I'm going to take a swing.
You know, I'm probably batting 125 at this point, but, you know, I'm getting some balls in play, and we're going to get up there. We're going to get into the batting cages, and we're going to figure it out. I will say that we've really grown in that relationship with Tommy Fleetwood to the point where he looked at our new golf balls that we're going to be coming out with TaylorMade, and he's like, I kind of want to play these things. So he is one of our guys. Tonight's video is a tough one for me. It's a real tough one for me. Chipping lesson. Something happened to me where, yeah.
It is crazy. Like, we do so much in that day. So when eBug texts you, you're like, oh my God. And then you try to recount everything. And then you see the promo of kind of you. And so, I don't know, what we played with like 8 golfers in one day. And I forgot the whirlwind of a situation that you got yourself into.
Couldn't get the ball in the green.
No, couldn't even get it close.
No, it was one of those things.
He drops this is the one. And then just heavy chunk. And it went like a quarter of the way there.
And he goes, not the one. So that's why I think eBug's saying he has such a dry British sense of humor. I felt like, you know what I mean? It's like every sitcom you've ever watched. There's a guy like Tommy Fleetwood's type of humor that makes you laugh every time he speaks. He doesn't even have to say something funny. It's just that line in particular in the promo. This is the one. I chunk it. He goes, that's not the one. And it made us all just die. So it's definitely a must watch. My last thing I'll say on this is YouTube call out. Go subscribe. Last time I did this, I threatened everyone to just go fucking be a person, be a human being, figure it out, go sign into your Gmail, log into YouTube, hit subscribe. It makes a huge difference for us. I said I want to get to 190,000 subscribers. We started with exactly 184 when I made the call out. We're closing in on 186. So we got about 2,000 people on this podcast listened to the call out. Well, let's try and get another 2,000. Okay, tonight, right now, as you're listening today, while you're sitting on your miserable fucking drive into the city or into the you're on that train just sitting there miserable.
All right, you don't have to be mean to people now. You can
just fucking hit subscribe.
Yes, please do. It's a great video. Tommy Fleetwood's awesome. And again, we're going to be rolling these out. We got multiple videos with Tommy. We also had the interaction with him at Torrey Pines where he saw us, recognized us, did a bit of a double take and stopped the chit chat. And then Jake Bass threw a phone right in his face, which he's supposed to do. He's doing his job. And the second he saw that, he went from in to just out, and he sort of stumbled back and was like, hey, okay, I got to go, and just left us alone. So we've had a couple weird interactions with him. When we see him at TaylorMade Media Day and he rolls up, he's fucking fantastic. He's dry. He does have that British, that Euro sense of humor. So the video is really good. Please go subscribe so Frankie doesn't have to yell at you and make you drive off a bridge.
Just hit subscribe. It's so simple. When I listen to podcasts and watch videos, I listen to it because I'm like, oh, like, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do right now. What are you doing if you're listening and not acting on what I'm saying? What are you currently doing right now that you can't go hit YouTube?
Fore Play Golf on YouTube. Please go subscribe. We appreciate it. Frankie and I also, one way in which we are on the same page, we recently bought homes, and we use cross-country mortgage to do it. Nothing's more frustrating than landing on the green only to 3-putt. True.
Nice.
Well, that and trying to find a helpful mortgage lender that you can trust. That's why Cross Country Mortgage does what they do. They have everything for everyone to help you find the right loan or refinance or whatever your needs happen to be. Who was your guy, Frankie?
Chris Devon in the Boston area. If you're in that Massachusetts area and you need a mortgage, you call Chris Devon, or really anywhere. Wherever you're at, there's always a cross-country mortgage place near you. You call them up. You're going to get a real person. When I tell you, I've heard horror stories because I'm in the friend group now, the age where my friend group is all buying houses, and we're all like just doing that thing right now, 29, 30 years old. Everyone's figuring it out. And there are some people that call those, oh my God, dude, I don't even want to say their name, but like the Rocket, and the other one, whatever, Quicken Sand Loans, the other fucking bullshit, whatever. I'm telling you right now, you're calling a call center. You're calling a call center where you're just a number. You want to get all this money for that house and this huge mortgage and one of the biggest purchases of your life, probably the biggest purchase you'll ever make in your life, hopefully, at that point. You need a personal connection to that person. You're giving your life to this person, and you need to make sure that that's a real person on the other end of that call, and that's what Cross Country Mortgage is. They sent me a mat. It says home sweet home on it, and on the bottom were the coordinates of my home. That's how personal that connection was. Chris Devon actually sent me a fucking mat. As I walk into my house, I'll always have Cross Country Mortgage a part of my house, and that's the kind of people we're dealing with.
If you are ready to tee off on a loan, visit Cross Country Mortgage. Our short game sucks, but our ability to find you an awesome loan is pretty darn awesome. Again, I think that the ad copy kind of focused on Frankie there, a little ricochet shot. Go to crosscountrymortgage.com/barstool so Cross Country Mortgage can take care of you through the home buying experience. They truly are the best in the business. We know from experience. Cross Country Mortgage, LLC, NMLS 3029, all loans subject to underwriting approval. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Thank you to Cross Country Mortgage for being a great partner. Please go check out crosscountrymortgage.com/barstool. Okay. Waste management. So,
best event in the world.
Agreed. Trent and I had been, we went on a whim 4 years ago, something. I think it was like 2018 or so. Trent and I went alone. We just booked our own tickets. The whole company was at the Super Bowl. We said, fuck this, we're going to Waste Management. And I had a little bit, I guess, forgotten since that time. We got up at like 5 a.m. on Saturday. We waited in line. They opened the gates at 7. We ran. We were there by like 7:05, 7:10. We get in. We had seats in like the third or fourth row. We didn't see a golf shot from 7 a.m. until like 11 a.m. And it was the most fun we'd ever had at a sporting event. Now I've moved out here. Last year it was significantly watered down because of COVID and restrictions. So this year is the first time I've ever just lived and been in Scottsdale for the entire Waste Management week. It truly might be my favorite event in all of sports to physically be at. It's fucking awesome. And really, any amazing event, especially sports related, relies heavily on the fans. If the fans are into it, if there's massive crowds that are loud and engaged, it makes anything feel like the most important event, most important shot or breakaway or throw, 4th and 1, whatever, in the history of sports. And this tournament, every fucking hole now, it feels like, has a massive theater, and it all builds towards the biggest theater that has 40,000 people around 150, 60, 70-yard par 3 that are boozing, hanging. You've got like, yes, it's a golf event, but you've got like girls are gearing up to the nines because it's a party cocktail event on top of being a golf tournament. Guys are trying to wear their coolest outfit because you know it's a party while also being a golf tournament. And then in the middle of all of that, you had an extremely strong field this year that included, I believe, 15 of the top 20 players in the world. Scottie Scheffler, one of the most upcoming players in the game, cool, calm customer, friend of the program, took down Jon Rahm at the Ryder Cup, hasn't broken through yet, breaks through and takes down Patrick Cantlay in a 3-hole playoff, who Cantlay's coming off FedEx Cup, one of the most consistent players in the world, hasn't finished outside top 11 in a PGA Tour event since August, I saw. Since fucking August, he hasn't finished outside the top 11 in a PGA Tour event or in any golf tournament. So all of that at play, and then you had the fucking ace on Saturday that all the footage wasn't. If it wasn't enough, if all of the chaos and the chanting and the hilarious fans and the environment overall wasn't enough, then on Saturday, the day before the Super Bowl, the entire internet, social media was taken over by Sam Ryder getting this ace, 124-yard shot, perfect, lands it just right of the pin, spins back, dribbles into the hole. People are throwing fucking beers left and right. Complete and utter chaos in a great way where everyone was just having fun. And Lurch was there. It is, I agree with you, especially when you're there in person, it is the coolest event to attend. It's really fun to watch, but it is the coolest event to attend maybe that I've ever been to.
Yeah, I mean, we never say that potentially somebody's going to be on a show before they are. But I am interested to ask this person that made this hole-in-one, how good of a feeling is that, and where that they would compare that hole-in-one to anything else, or making a hole-in-one around the world, and how good of a feeling that might stack up to be. Because that event is is so good. It's really tough to put into words. I mean, one, the place is mobbed. What they estimated 500,000 people roughly are going to be there over the 4-day span.
Over the weekend alone, there were supposed to be 400,000 people. There whispers earlier in the week, they were trying to get over 1 million spectators at the event.
Also, the thing that's crazy is the 16th, so that atmosphere gets taken down and put up every year. There's like crown molding in there. Like, it is done. There's rugs. It is stunningly beautiful on the inside when you're actually in the atmosphere. And yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for words if there's any other better golf tour. I mean, it is so good. Fans are, liable to do anything that they choose to, a hole-in-one, the beer, everything gets thrown on the course. That was interesting if that, like from a golfer's perspective, all those beer cans say they're on average at quarter to half full. Like, does that affect the course at all? Like, does that affect the green when they just get hucked out there?
Cantlay's ball bounced to off over a mountain on that putt on 16.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it has to. I think it absolutely has to. And yes, I saw people complaining about that, bitching about that. And we get that. We understand. Like, okay, if you're actually affecting the playing surface, that. But guess what? The fans affect everything. When you're standing over a fucking tee shot on the 11th tee, which is right next to 16, there are like 20,000 people that can't get into 16 that are standing, and you don't have the buffer that you have on 16. On 16, at least it's a little bit like the Coliseum. Like, the fans are back a little bit. They're in fucking grandstands and suites and stuff. On like the 11th tee box, which was one of the harder tee shots on the golf course, the fans are 4 feet from you, and there's 20,000 idiots that at any moment, anyone could have a lurch type voice and they're just trying to talk to their buddy and they just screech in your fucking backswing. You could have somebody yell something from the 10th green. Like, it affects play. The fans affect play the whole time. And like when I was walking, so it was the first time I ever like actually had access like inside the ropes, walking literally with fucking Max and his caddy Joe and with Joel Dahmen, being in there, like, you hear shit. You just hear shit. Right before you pull the club back, someone will be like, "Let's go, Max!" Like, right before he pulls the club back. And like, he hears that. Like, he can't not hear that. And so the whole time it's
really
just
committed to that role there.
Yeah, that's a promo right there. I mean, that thing.
It just affects you, man. Like, it affects the whole thing. So yeah, I get that there's a physical aspect to it affecting the balance, but there's a reason that people say, yeah, once a week, each year, it's great. You can't have it every week. I never really understood what that meant. I always thought, like, okay, if it's great, then like it could just be great all the time. But it's true because it's not for everyone. There's certain players that choose not to play this event. And it does affect you. It's quite distracting and annoying. And there's an argument of like, well, all the other sports and football and hockey and basketball and baseball, people are screaming the whole time. But you're removed from it and they're reactionary. Golf, you're not removed from it. It's an incredibly intimate experience. You are just walking on grass. People are walking right next to you. When you stand over a shot, you need to be focused on that shot, and sudden like noises or movements will affect the outcome of the entire event. Someone like moving around in the crowd doesn't affect if you fucking snipe in the top left corner or not in a hockey game. You're just reacting to what's going on. And in golf, it actually does. So I do agree that like you can't have this all the time. It's a little bit of chaos in golf. But man, having it this week and celebrating the shit out of it and all the good that came from it, I think the Waste Management is becoming and will continue to become the best non-major in all of golf.
Well, and also it seems like it really takes over the city of Scottsdale. As a guy who wasn't there, like, and I don't know if it's because we're coming off a COVID year where it wasn't as crazy, or if it's because Riggs lives there now and I have more of an inside look at it, but it seems like it's one of those few events, and I guess you could compare it to Augusta in that way, where when the Masters takes place, it really takes over that whole city or that whole town. It just felt like I felt like Scottsdale was the place to be. Like, as a guy who was not there, I was like, man, I'm pretty jealous that I'm not there. And there's really not that many golf tournaments. There's really not that many sporting events that are like that, where, yeah, there's what's happening, the golf that is happening on 16 and all these other great holes, but it also just seemed like it took over the whole town, and that is pretty rare and pretty cool.
Absolutely. It
And I think
100% does. It 100% does. And the other thing is, like, it leans into Scottsdale, right? Like the waste management, you get tournaments that go to different places and they try to have their own identity that doesn't align with the city or the town. The waste management is perfectly in a line with what Scottsdale is about. People move here and live here for what the Waste Management Phoenix Open is. It's a vacation party, young, exciting place with perfect weather and great-looking people, and everyone's trying to celebrate that all of the fucking time. And, like, the Waste Management has just leaned into that, and it works. It's, like, not... You know, the only thing that sticks out is that church pew bunker on 18 that shouldn't be anywhere near Scottsdale, but everything else is Scottsdale as it could be in this place. And so it just works because it's the ethos of the town and the part. And you're right, Trent, every restaurant that you go to, it's standing room only at the bar. All, you know, it just takes over this entire place. Like Lurch said to me, he's like, every person that I went, you know, because he was in town for work, like that he works with is like, oh, you're going over to the tournament this afternoon? It's a part of this entire place for a week, and everybody you know is there. Every Instagram account you follow, from personal one to a business one to their own brand, is at the tournament at some point and posting Instagram stories of it. So it does take over this entire place, and everybody's happy about it. You got a million friends in town. Dana Beers texted me on Saturday, like at 10 a.m., and he's like, you're the smartest person in the world for moving to Scottsdale. He's like, this place is the best place in the world, and it's hard not to feel that during the Phoenix Open because the Thunderbirds and the whole crew that run it have done such a good job of leaning into it and embracing it and now amplifying it to the point where, again, I honestly think it's the best tournament outside of any major.
Also, they're being rewarded because every top golfer is showing up and now playing in this, or a lot of them are. So it's like, it's obviously working. And yeah, like when I got my rental car, I talked about it on the last podcast, like the place was like desolate. It was like, I'll take any car in here. I just got to get out of this place. And then Scottsdale is absolutely flooded with people. And then the amount of people, like they have a small city that literally is grown and built from kind of 15, 16, 17, and 18. And honestly, I think my only gripe with the tournament is that I wish the playoff hole, I wish it went back to...
G?
Huh?
Is that a form of a crepe?
Or did you say gripe?
I meant to say gripe. What did I say?
I think you might have said cripe.
Cripe, which I think might be a form of a crepe, maybe.
Also, might those.
I would
they're
love
very
a crepe.
thin pancakes.
Yeah.
Cripe is an
It's a crepe.
award-winning Indiana MBE multidisciplinary design firm. That's the first result.
You were looking for gripe. Sorry,
I
I
was
didn't
looking for gripe if I didn't
What's
say
your
it.
only grape?
My only grape that I wish we could have out there is I wish the playoff went back to 17. Like I understand maybe they got to clear everybody out on 16 security or whatever, but I like the 18th hole. I would like to see, I think 17 be incorporated in that. I don't think that you could go back to 15, like 15, 17, 18. That would be the only gripey.
Well, I would say one of the more underrated positives of the whole tournament is the golf course. The golf course is perfect for this tournament and for a PGA Tour event. I mean, the winners were 16 under par, which is not that low, especially when we had a guy, 32 under par, Cam Smith won when we were out in Hawaii. And it's perfect weather, very little wind. There were like maybe 2 mornings where there was some wind. So you've got perfect weather. You've got almost no wind, and yet the scores were pretty manageable. They weren't crazy low. It was like if you could shoot, 3 or 4 under a day, like you had a very good chance to win the golf tournament, which for these PGA Tour pros, that's a pretty damn good defense of the golf course. It played pretty firm, pretty fast, and the closing stretch, the front nine's not that exciting. And I would argue when you come out here, like I live 3 minutes away from TBC Scottsdale. We never go out and play there. I don't think it's like the most fun course out here to play. It's not bad. It's cool. But from a PGA Tour tournament perspective, that closing stretch, that whole back nine is phenomenal. Like you've got 10 and 11 are par 4s that could kind of test guys. 12, there's some water. Then you got like par 5, you got a long par 4. And then when you get into like 15, obviously is a really cool par 5, water all down the left, water all around the green, so the approach shot's tricky. Guys can make birdie, eagle, or double there easily. They obviously then go into 16. 17 might be the best hole on the PGA Tour. Like, it is awesome. It's so easy for guys to make bogey or double on that hole from within 10 yards of the green, or you see eagles, you see birdies. And then 18 solid. Like you said, Lurch, it's not amazing. I think it's a good closing hole. They should just go back and play 17 over and over again. It would never make it further than like one playoff hole, maybe two. But yeah, you get a really exciting finish where you get guys can go, I believe on Saturday, Max Homa went like 4 birdies on the last 5 holes. And then on Sunday, he was, I think, 2 or 3 or 4 over on those holes coming in. So you get that big of a difference on those last 4 or 5 holes. So the golf course delivers. It's just fucking a great tournament. Players get really excited to play in it. The fans get pumped up for it. It's early in the year, right? So it's like we haven't really had any intense, dramatic golf yet. It's like Hawaii, and they're in kind of California. And then it feels, again, with the fans and the Super Bowl and those kind of aligning, that shit's starting to get real. And it just delivers. The Phoenix Open fucking delivers.
There's just what were you gonna say?
Just wanted to give my thoughts on the golf tournament we just watched this weekend. But basically, is what I was gonna say, Lurch, is that I enjoy that the players have bought into it as much as the fans have. It looks like they marked their calendars for that's the week that they're gonna really let loose, wear jerseys around, and the whole thing. Justin Thomas puts up like, what jersey am I gonna wear on 16? Harry Higgs is showing his nipples, which we'll get to. They're popping the tops off. It's as great of an event as you can possibly have. My question to you guys is it okay to say that it's almost too much for me to want to go enjoy? Like, Trent would never want to go to the Waste Management and be on 16. Dave Portnoy and I tweeted out, like, am I too old, by saying I'd rather die than be stuck inside that mosh pit of people? Is it okay to say it's one of the best tournaments to go to, fucking awesome, but like it's not for everybody, right? And not in the sense that like it's not bad for golf. I'm just saying there's a lot of people I'd be like, that's like just.
Did you see anybody tweeting, I've been to the tournament, it sucks being there?
No.
It's just people that weren't there that claim that they wouldn't like it.
Well, no, it's like, yeah.
It's also,
it's easy to say, but like when you're there, it's awesome.
I don't deny that. I'm saying, is it possible to have both scenarios be true? It is an amazing event to go to, and like, yeah, you get to see a hole in one and everyone's throwing beer cans on there, but like it obviously would be better if you weren't in the beer filled like arena as opposed to not.
I think a lot of it comes down to age. Like, I think if you just took that whole swath on 16 where all the craziness is and averaged out the ages, it would be lower. Like, is that kind of what you're saying? Like, you're not seeing. It's like saying, do you want to go to a college football game? Do you want to sit in the student section, or do you want to go sit in a part of the stadium where you can just enjoy the game? I think what it comes down to is you just got to fall into the right age category.
Right.
And for that age category, there's no better place on earth.
Well,
totally. It's just like going to like the best bar in town or a college town, and you're like, oh my God, it was the greatest night of all time last night. But then in reality, you put a camera on what that bar looked like, and it's shoulder to shoulder. You can't walk in. You got 3 beers from the bar, and that's it. Like, you had to go back to like, it's still super fun. One of the greatest memories you're ever gonna have. But I'm just saying, it's a chaotic, ridiculous environment, which I don't think is for everyone.
You definitely got to know what you're signing up for.
Right.
Well, there's the 18th hole is like a club. Like, the 16th hole is a madness party. And like Riggs made a point earlier on where it's like, this doesn't have to be every weekend. It's all part of growing the game because it's a different way to view it. But what you see privately and like what that tournament actually is publicly, the 18th, 17th, 18th hole are like kind of reserved, but it's also really nice on the like the infield part of the course that Dave would go to and sit there, with like his hat or whatever and enjoy the finishing holes. That's much different than what I saw.
Right. I was going to say there's a bunch of different options. Like, there's the bleachers at 16, which is like a bleachers at fucking Wrigley Field. That's like chaos and peanuts and fucking beer all over you. And then there's also really nice suites, like the Axon suite that like Lurch was in with his like company and stuff. They got like gourmet food right behind you and like cocktails and like a bar. Like, that's like most of 16 is actually that. They're like really nice suites where you're not getting beer tossed on you at all. You're under like you're basically under like a really nice club building that was built. And it's the same way, in a lot of the different parts. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like that that the image that people were kind of reacting to of like, oh my God, beer being spilled. That's the first time that had happened in 7 years that there had been a hole-in-one there. Like, people aren't throwing beers all over people. You know, yeah, the bleachers are the bleachers like they are anywhere. Definitely. 100% understand. But also, like, when Dave goes to the Kentucky Derby, he's not in the grindy bleacher part. He's sitting up in a fucking really nice, like, suite with, like Lurch said, his hat and, like, having nice food brought to him. So I think you can clearly get a little bit of everything. Like, our boy Josh Isner, I put him in Dave's category. He's not. His favorite week of the year is like waste management. He's not grinding it out in the bleachers, getting beer thrown all over him. You kidding me? You'd have those people arrested and tased in a fucking heartbeat.
Right.
So, like, you can have kind of whatever experience I guess you want. I totally get people being like, man, if I was sitting in those bleachers and I had, you know, drunk college-age kids throwing beer on me, I'd rather be anywhere else in the world. Definitely understand that. I guess what I'm trying to convey is that, like Lurch said, you there's a lot of different experiences you can have. I'm sure they're going to depend on money. Like,
right.
if you have money, you can have like a really nice suite experience. But yeah, it's definitely a bit of a younger crowd. Even the older people that are there, it's no different than when somebody does go to like a nicer high-end nightclub. If you're older, you're trying to feel fucking younger. That's why you do it. That's sort of the experience that you're chasing. And it's a younger fucking college-y ASU type crowd there. So I do get that. I guess they've just also done a really good job of offering all kinds of different options, because if you have 1 million people going to a golf tournament, you're probably going to need to offer more options. But yeah, it's that scene on 16. I could see people too being like, with the ace being like, I do not want to be in that whatsoever.
But that's where the question that I had came up, because that was the image that everyone's saying greatest tournament in the world. So that we didn't see the crown molding at the Axon thing. We saw like a guy in the middle literally going like this as like the biggest douchebag of Sigma Chi, whatever fucking of Arizona State, is literally pouring beer on his forehead because the guy had a hole-in-one. So like, some people are going to love that. I would, if I was in that scenario and I'm on like a bachelor party, like, get me in the mix. If I'm still in my fucking 20s, I want to go nuts and go crazy, I'm in the mix. But like, there definitely was that argument on Twitter to be made where it was like, if that's the image of why it's the greatest tournament on earth, I could see why everyone's like, well, I'm just gonna pass then. If that's the best that we have to offer to go and visit.
Yeah.
You guys understand what I'm saying?
Totally.
Because like, I'd rather see a picture of 12 at Augusta and be like, the greatest event on earth. And it's like, holy fuck! Like, I need to be there right now. I can feel it. I can sense it. I can taste it.
So
I mean, you're washed up, baby. Let's go. On the podcast. You're washed up, baby. Come to my end. On last week's podcast, I said I haven't been to a bachelor party in 7 years because I don't want to go. Come to my end. Water's warm. We hang out. We go to bed at 10:30.
It's like, I don't know that anyone.
Beautiful.
I don't know. I don't know that if you gave anyone like the chance, they'd want to always be in that situation on 16.
So the other thing, Frankie, because it's a par 3. You think it's small. I mean, it's 100. What, it's literally 2 football fields long of stands. You know what I mean? It's 170 yards. You got to add a little bit on like the boundary of each side. So it is massive. Like, there is a section that goes absolutely ham, and there's different parts of it, but that's obviously one hole. And yeah, when I say it's the best tournament ever, just walking around in the energy towards this golf tournament was amazing. Like,
I don't deny that, and we've already talked about it.
That's what got me so excited.
I'm just saying like their poster, tweet, or video or picture was that mayhem, and I loved it. I loved Harry Higgs. I loved Joel Dahmen. I loved everything about it. I literally went crazy when it happened. I'm screaming at the TV. I was laughing so hard. I'm just saying, if that's the poster, if that's what like that. I could see why people would be like, if that's the best that tournament has to offer, count me out. But they have to just do a better job of showing everything else. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
or just another tournament, like a tournament the next weekend. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I mean, they get 1 million people going.
Different.
I think they're marketing it fine. I think it's like people are jacked up. It was fun, man. It was
washed. You're washed. You're washed.
Was so loud we didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I said you're washed again.
Oh.
If you do go next year, you might want to bring some dude wipes. We have a serious chat about, bathroom habits. You probably need to have one. It's time to quit shitty, scratchy toilet paper and switch to dude wipes. Dude wipes are extra large, flushable wipes made with plant-sourced fibers designed to give your butt a cleaner, more refreshing finish than TP after dropping a deuce. Dude Wipes will change your life. Your butt will thank you, and you'll never look at an empty toilet paper roll the same way again. They also have other great personal care products over at Dude Wipes, like Dude Powder, Dude Shower Body Wipes, perfect for other sticky situations. You can find everything on Amazon or Dude Wipes at Walmart and Target nationwide. Our guy Harry Higgs, who we have to get to, who popped the top off, big Dude Wipes guy. He's a ambassador. He's a sponsored athlete by Dude Wipes. You can go to dudewipes.com as well. Use the code RIGGS20, RIGGS20, RIGGS20. Going to get you 20% off your entire order. Go to dudewipes.com. RIGGS20 gets 20% off your entire order. And again, outside of their flushable wipes, which are great, they have a bunch of other good products that we use as well. Their shower wipes are great for post-golf. Before you maybe go to the 19th hole, you get all that sunscreen off you, sand, sweat, hit the old shower wipes. So they got good products. Go check them out. RIGGS20 is the code for 20% off. That's dudewipes.com.
What do you guys think about my Super Bowl commercial idea? I tweeted it last night that a company should just put up a 30-second bathroom break with a countdown on it, and that should be their Super Bowl commercial. I had a bunch of people tagging Dude Wipes under my tweet for that. I think that's such a good idea, and not to toot my own horn, I think somebody's going to do it next year.
Any pun with the toot your own horn?
No, but I'm just speaking in riddles and poems now because I guess that's the way that it is. I think because that's a part of the problem for me. It's not a big problem, but like when the Super Bowl is on, it's unlike any other sporting event in that you have to sit down and watch the commercials, or you're going to be outside of what a lot of people are talking about the next day or on Twitter or wherever, where if you're a company and you want people to like you and you want a good commercial, a creative idea, that's what everybody's trying to do. They spend millions upon millions upon millions of dollars for these 30-second slots. Why not break the mold and put up say in big letters, bathroom break, 30-second clock, or however much time that you purchase, and give people a break. And then at the end of the commercial, throw up a logo. I think you get a lot of loyal customers for life if you do something like that. And it's certainly, that would have been the best commercial yesterday because the ones yesterday stunk.
Were you struggling to go to the bathroom during the Super Bowl? I didn't find that big of an issue. I just went and peed like whenever I needed to pee.
You missed something though.
The game was, I don't care. I didn't miss one of the plays. Who
well,
cares?
then I'm not talking to you.
Oh, okay. No,
I've never had a problem going to the bathroom during the big game. It's not one of those things where, you go and get chips and, they were, talking to people and stuff. I definitely missed some things that happened. I agree. I like that type of what is it? What type of marketing would that be considered? The crypto company did it. It was it's a completely different form of marketing where you're not even going to promote your product. You're just going to make a scene. So yeah, there's definitely room for that. I like that idea. I don't not like that idea.
I like the idea. I think you would accomplish it. You would accomplish it at a much higher rate than the other companies are. I think a lot of the other companies are failing.
What I'm finding out about that idea is it is better written. Like when I talk about it, you guys are poking holes in it. When I tweet it, I don't have to listen to anybody else.
I think if you watch a Super Bowl like this and you just sit there and be like, all right, I'm just going to watch the Super Bowl today and everything that's happening I need to consume. Sure. But I must have made myself 15 plates of nachos, pretzel bites, little mini 1-bite pizza things. Come on. There's things I missed for sure. I didn't need a commercial.
I didn't once take my eyes off the screen.
I didn't need a commercial to go tell me to fucking spank myself, at the buffet line. Come on now.
I'm always looking for something to tweet about. That's why I don't want to miss anything.
It's not a bad idea. It's just you definitely get up during the Super Bowl.
No, that tweet did numbies. I know you.
No,
you didn't stand once during the bathroom.
You know what? Let's talk about something else.
Did you stand once during the Super Bowl?
What?
Did you stand once? Did you, after you sat down for the first time, when that kickoff came on at 6:30 Eastern time, did you stand up until that game was over?
A couple times, yeah.
Okay.
Barely,
Did you watch every second of the TV from the minute the coverage started until it was over?
Honestly, yeah, pretty much. I like to know. I like to see it all. I want to watch the game. I want to see the commercials. I want to make fun of the commercials, or I want to be like, that was a good commercial. I love all that stuff.
I don't like it either.
No,
I pick and choose. You see a commercial.
Not as into it. I wasn't as into it as you were. But I get it. If you're that into it, you probably needed a bath. You couldn't find one 30-second break to go to the bathroom?
I didn't want to miss anything.
I love that about you, dude.
I do too. I respect that. I respect
That's
that.
crazy.
Theatrics guy. You're a theatrics guy.
You're locked in, man.
You know what I am? I'm a loser Twitter guy. Like I want to just tweet about like
How many tweets did you get during the commercials?
I don't know the number, but I'm getting the vibes that everybody else in this group went to a Super Bowl party, which is cool. That Super Bowl parties are definitely cool. I was just sitting here. I ordered a bunch of wings for myself, and I was like, I can't wait to tweet about.
Which I love. I went and got the party pack boxes from Taco Bell, and I brought 4 of those things.
Oof.
We're talking 48 soft taco supremes I brought to this party. I didn't eat them all. I definitely ate 7 though. I ate 7 soft taco supremes.
Was it well received?
Oh my god, dude! People
sure.
going crazy. Come on, man! You walk in with those. I had 4 suitcases in my hand walking into the party. Most people bringing beer. I was strapped with soft tacos, and you'd think that this was
Pretty
for
good,
a party
dude.
with
That's
like
pretty
50
good idea.
people. This was a party for like 8 or 9 people, so there was a lot of tacos to go around. A lot of people didn't eat them, but yeah, it was well received. I do want to say, if you want to blend the golf talk with the Super Bowl talk, and something that the Waste Management needs to figure out, especially for this week. My goodness, do they have to start earlier? You have to bank in some time for at least 2 playoff holes, because I got to be honest with you guys, the second Scottie Scheffler missed that putt and we saw it was going to overtime, someone said that at the party. They said, "Oh, when's it going into overtime?" And I fucking ridiculed them. And you know who it was? It was my fucking buddy Rob, that fucking guy who never smiles at work. He fucking said, "Is it going to overtime?" And I said, "Who the fuck calls it overtime?" And I just said it on a fucking golf podcast. The second it went to a playoff, we turned it off because you have to watch the national anthem, the flyover. We had it on like a little phone. I was keeping track because it was Scottie Scheffler. But come on, guys. How many people do you think dropped off to go watch the Super Bowl during the playoff of the Waste Management? 95%?
But I think it's a tough calculation, because I think that they get a significant boost if they run like as close to right into the Super Bowl as they can.
That was a miss, though. That's a miss, though. There was a miscalculation because.
But I don't know if there is, because I don't know that
they don't care who sees the ending.
Right. I think that they get the people viewing leading up to, and then if people miss, then you were already sacrificing people missing by not doing it. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know that they really care that much. Like, you have a drop off.
It's just as a product for a viewer, like, we want to be satisfied and see the winner of the golf tournament. So it's almost like going to a restaurant and the restaurant being like, "Well, we got all these bodies in, we don't care about the product." Like, at the end of the day, I don't care if I give them dessert. Like, just they were here anyway. We got their money because they fucking paid for dinner. Like, I didn't get to fucking eat dessert. I didn't get to watch them. They had to turn on the Super Bowl. You have to turn on the Super Bowl.
Dude, I'll be honest, I didn't see a second of the Super Bowl until midway through the second quarter. Probably.
This guy was one.
Well,
He
now
can go to the bathroom whenever he wants.
We just learned a lot about you then.
I was just more into the golf.
I would also say that this is
partially
partially mitigated by the fact that, like, multiple screens or streaming, like, even if you drop it off the TV, somebody can put it on their phone, or, not to toot my horn as a billionaire, but I have 2 screens here in my living room. So it's like, I just put them on both. And that's actually a really good viewing experience. You put the sound on, listen to the national anthem, and then you got Scottie Scheffler and Cantlay dueling it out. Like, that's actually pretty nice. I don't think people definitely drop off. Like,
I'd say 98% of the people that were watching the tournament turned to the Super Bowl. Is that a fair estimate? 95%?
I think that's high.
Hey, that's really high.
Wow.
I would say
we're talking about the Super Bowl here, guys.
Hold on. Are you saying no, like, flipping back and forth? Because I was flipping back and forth.
I'm saying at 6:30, once, like, you knew Super Bowl coverage was starting, right after Scottie missed that, you turned on the Super Bowl.
That number's high. The number's high, and it might be where Frankie's putting it. Also,
yeah, that probably is true.
Every TV in America watches the Super Bowl.
And no disrespect to Cantlay and Scheffler, but they're not, like,
right.
household
groans
names, so
were happening across America when he missed that putt, because everyone was like, "This can't go to a playoff." We've watched. I will say this: it was the greatest lead-in to the Super Bowl. Just being able to go to the party. We were at a buddy's house from 1:00 until whenever we ended up leaving. From 1:00 till 6:30, you're watching really good golf. Everyone's talking about it. We have bets going, the whole thing. We're on a Barstool Sports books. Everything you love about Waste Management watching on TV was that, and then. As Scottie Scheffler missed that putt, groans happened throughout the whole house, the women, everything. And then we had to turn it off. You have to turn it off.
I think Riggs is right. I think they got what they wanted.
was a crazy
Yeah.
finish. I mean, Scheffler came from the clouds too, because he was nowhere to be found on 17. Then I'm gonna butcher his name. Sahith.
No, I think it's. I actually think so. Sahith.
Anyways, he puts in the water. Cantlay misses his putt to basically win the tournament on 18. It was crazy finish that way. But no, I was a last guy. I didn't jump to the Super Bowl by any means. I like what? Oh, okay. What's going on over there? I missed the national anthem. I think I missed kickoff.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I'm not saying we're in the majority. I definitely get it.
No, by any means.
But I don't.
Absolutely not.
I just would rather. I like the end of things more than I would way rather watch these pressure moments in the playoff and the golf tournament than the kickoff in a football game. I don't
you didn't
care.
have
Like, I
you
just
didn't
don't care
have
that
coin on the first kickoff touchback then.
I wish I had. I didn't know. That was a good
You didn't
number.
have
The
coin on
sportsbook was minus 106. That felt
Yeah,
like
you didn't.
stealing.
Yeah, you guys weren't into the Super Bowl, which is fine. I mean, the
I apologize.
theatrics.
If
I
I'm
gotta go, too. See you,
if I'm a
boys.
Super Bowl official and listening to this, I'm worried because I thought that everyone watched every second of the Super Bowl. Clearly, I think we just lost
National
Lurch.
anthem, the time, how long is she going to sing it? I mean, it's a yearly tradition. Scottie Scheffler, I fucking love that man. He's a huge foreplay guy. At the end of the day, I gotta watch the Super Bowl. It's once a year.
Yeah, that was just, again, it's personal preference. That's what I was more into. And then I get to catch most of the Super Bowl. It's not a big deal. Wasn't that big of a deal for me. I just flip over when I can flip over, and I watch it. I don't know that 95% of people that are watching the golf, because I feel like if you're choosing to watch golf, you're pretty into golf, right? That's
I don't
not
know,
as
but
mainstream.
I guess because I was with a big group of people here to watch the Super Bowl. Every single person I'm watching the golf with is a huge golfer. We love golf. We watched 7 hours of it leading up to it. It was no one even blinked at the thought that you have to turn on the Super Bowl once I went to a playoff. We did switch back and forth. Once I had it on my phone and I'm like, oh, like Scottie's got this putt, Cantlay's got you'd go back after you saw the theatrics of the Super Bowl. It's just a Super Bowl. It starts at 6:30. You got it. You got Jim Nantz. You have Al Michaels and you got fucking Chris Collinsworth coming in. You got the whole thing. You got to watch it. It's fucking football. It's king.
Yeah, the golf tournament leading up to the Super Bowl is smart because it's the best thing on that day. Who is watching those fucking pregame shows that last for 8 hours? You just go down if you're your TV guy and it's like Super Bowl pregame, and it takes up the entire day. I can't watch that, and I don't know who can. So golf is the best alternative on Super Bowl Sunday before the game.
Especially Waste Management with the excitement down the stretch, 16. Yep. Like the fact that they go through 16 and it's the now it's not just some novelty thing throughout the week. Now it's all of a sudden the tournament's on the line and they're going through 16 and hitting shots and getting booed. It is great leading up to the game for sure. I don't think you're wrong, Brinky. I think they got to get it. It's the first time this has happened. I mean, we had Hideki and Ricky, I believe, went to a 6 or 7 or 8 hole playoff several years ago that bled into halftime almost of the Super Bowl. And I agree with you. That's not ideal, but I do think it's I think it's tough timing wise for them to nail it down because I think they want to sort of benefit from people starting to get into viewing mode and turn on the finish of the Phoenix Open because they're already ready to rock for sports and the Super Bowl and everything else. So I do think it's a little bit tough, but yeah, I saw plenty of people bitching that it ended early because I think most people were like you. I think they're going to change it to the Super Bowl over a golf tournament, in February.
You're talking about what, a 30-minute difference? Maybe just tweak it.
Yeah.
It's not that big. It's not how long did that playoff last?
Yeah, but then if there's no playoff, it ends an hour and a half before the Super Bowl, maybe, and you're
Which
sort
allows
of
people to then leave, and I don't know, allows people to go to their parties or turn on the Super Bowl, go get food. If you're really trying to engage all these sport watchers, it's just too tight. You're watching all day golf, and then you're watching all night football. It's just way too tight for such a big sports day. It's just I wish it was just a little bit regimented better, the schedule.
You know who regiments things perfectly, boys? Peter Millar.
Yes, they do.
No,
I gotta tell you guys something.
Perfectly. Please do.
I don't know if you guys have looked on the Peter Millar website recently. I have. I look almost every single day. They've got, the Lava Wash hoodies?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They've got Lava Wash sweatpants now. Have you guys seen these?
No.
Dude. Lava Wash pants. Go look on petermillar.com. Tell me that these are not the most must-buy pants you've ever seen in your entire life. You talk about comfortability. I've never felt a more comfortable sweatshirt than the Lava Wash hoodie. The fact that they've now put that from the waist down is actually insane. And the color combos are nuts. To be able to do that Lava Wash blue with the Lava Wash gray pants is insane. I see Trent just scouring onto petermillar.com. He's going to hit men. He's going to hit men's, he's going to hit bottoms, and he's going to scroll down. It's going to be on your right side on the bottom part of that website. You can almost, I could see Todd Martin from Peter Millar just smiling as we're now going through the website to see where these Lava Wash pants are. They are the most comfortable looking pants on the website I've ever seen in my time. Yeah.
petermillar.com/foreplay. Frankie's right. They got really good stuff on there, and they're always coming out with brand new options, items, pieces of clothing that you won't believe exist because they're so comfortable and classy and fantastic for a golf course or a work dinner or going to work or just existing as a human that has to wear clothes in this society. They got the Cradle Crewneck, one of my favorites. We actually threw the Barstool Classic Championship logo on their crew necks for last year, and it's probably the sharpest we've ever looked at, a white one. But Cradle Crewneck, one of their newer, better options over at petermillar.com/foreplay. So go explore that. Go explore their complete line of performance pullovers and much more from Peter Millar. I highly recommend the EB66 5-pocket pants.
Would you say that Peter Millar is like the only company on the planet that if you had to just wear one company forever to every event, and I'm talking weddings, golf, working out, sleeping, I think they cover everything, and it's the top of the line in each category. You know what I'm saying?
I say yes.
Yeah, they're versatile.
I think it's...
I could go to a dinner with billionaires and dress like I'm supposed to be there wearing Peter Millar, and I can also wear a hoodie and sweatpants and go to a movie and wear Peter Millar. It's stunning, their versatility. And
dude, they even have like the beach line now. They have like, when I was in Cabo right before New Year's, I had 2 Peter Millar bathing suits that I had with me.
That's insane. I didn't even know they had that. That's
fucking
insane.
Bathing suits from Peter Millar. And they were fantastic. People are like, where'd you get that? It's like, Peter Millar? Like, the golf company? What do you mean the golf company? Oh, yeah. So, yeah. petermillar.com/foreplay. Go check them out. Brandel Chamblee, best analyst in the game. A couple of huge shout-outs for Barstool Sports, and he came up with one of the great quotes in history, which we obviously put on a T-shirt. I owe him a couple beers because we stole his quote, put it on a T-shirt. We're going to make money off of it. So I owe him a couple beers at Isabel's Kitchen, one of the best spots in town, but which I'm going to buy and make good on it. But he, in his little spiel about the Waste Management Phoenix Open on, I think it was Friday, he said, "No, it's not old school, it's Barstool." And that quote is so perfect for the Phoenix Open, for everything that we've talked about thus far, for ushering in the new era of the game. He elaborated more even on Saturday morning before coverage started, going on and on about how, clubs need to embrace the younger, newer culture of golf. They need to not be against it and adverse to it because that's going to hurt the growth of the game. The way that you help the growth of the game is embrace what the new generation is into, which is more relaxed. And that's not just about golf. That's about everything. People don't fucking wear suits anymore. People that go to work don't wear the same shit that they do, or at least not the same rate that they did. It's a lot more casual. Everything about life is more casual. Steakhouses that you go to, I see people in hoodies and they're wearing hats. And obviously that's going to be true about golf as well. If you have this whole younger, newer generation that's now starting to get a little bit older, they're starting to have kids and families and make a little bit more money. If you try to stick in your old ways of you have to dress this way and you have to act this, they're not going to fucking like golf. They're going to stay away from it, and they're going to find something else that embraces what they like to do and their culture and their style. The Waste Management encompasses all of that and has done such a phenomenal job of it, and Brandel leveraged that into an excellent rant, spiel, whatever you want to call it, about how golf needs to continue to welcome what we've been saying for years on this show if it wants to continue to grow, and he's fucking spot on.
I feel very blessed to be living in this reality, that is the case. You know what I mean? Because we could be living in a reality where it's the other way, where it's just, I want to sit around in sweatpants and go to a golf tournament like the Waste Management Phoenix Open, but instead everyone's like, why isn't everyone wearing suits? Why aren't you guys, being more dressed up? So that's something to think about, because we are living in a time where our style, or like in style in terms of like the media company that we work for, the whole world is heading towards that as opposed to the other thing. And that's just a great, great spot to be in. And Brandel's right. It's not an old school golf tournament. That's not what it's trying to be. It's trying to be more open to everyone. So everyone is having fun. Everyone wants to get involved. And that's what it is. And he gave us a great quote. And again, it's a great time to be living in if you're guys like us.
Yeah, you can look at it either way. You're either going to hate it or you're going to love it. And no one's going to cater to either person. Everyone's just going to do what everyone's doing. Does that make any sense? Like, the world just reacts this way now. So golf is just going to be that way. And I agree with you, Trent. Like, the fact that golf is just going with it and not catering to a specific person, just going with the flow, is an amazing, amazing thing to see, because we thought that golf would be the only thing in the world that would they'd always say that you have to, you can't eat with your elbows on the table, and you have to take your hat off when you speak to your mother, and all of this stuff. It's fucking crazy. Like, that's not the way the world is going. Golf was always a step or two behind, but now you're seeing, this is what 18 to 24-year-olds do at events when they drink. They fucking go crazy in the crowd. They throw beers on the fucking green, and they go nuts, and they pour beers on their heads. That is what the Waste Management is just accepting and allowing to happen. And it's amazing to be able to see that, because that's just what they do. If you tell them not to do it, you're not going to have any fun. You're going to turn them away from the game. We're just allowing what's happening to happen.
Right. And if you fight it, you die.
You absolutely die.
In terms of a sport like golf, like, if you fight it, you can continue to clutch your pearls and keep putting up barriers and closing down these clubs and only letting certain people go to them. Obviously, that's still happening a lot. But in terms of something like this, like, if you go against it, people are just going to find something else to do, because there are other leagues, other events, other sports that are going to embrace it, and they're going to grow. And luckily, like Frankie is saying, golf has not decided to turn their back on it. In this instance, they have decided to go with it, and they will grow as a result. Look at all of the videos that came out from this tournament. That is a result of embracing this new, younger, social media-driven society and culture, and it's going to help you grow. People can hate it. People can dislike it. The dinosaurs can try to fight against it and become extinct, but if you don't fight it and you roll with it, you will grow with it.
We're also explaining the success of Barstool Sports. That's
right.
Just like why Barstool Sports is successful. They took a bunch of people from the regular lifestyle of the people growing up on this planet, this generation, and we're now, quote unquote, the voice in some sort of sports world, that we are part of the golf world and we do the things that we think most people do, and that's just now getting accepted. That's why Brandel says it's not old school, it's Barstool. It's the Barstool way of doing ththings, aka the normal way that people just grow up in this generation and do things. That's just the thing that has to be accepted.
And when we get asked that quite a bit, hey, I'd really like some advice. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to try to get into sports media. What would you? I don't know. We just are us. We're just real and raw, and we actually don't know. We don't know the answer to that, because it turns out that what media was lacking, and what Dave Portnoy was such a genius in figuring out, was that if you have a pretty good platform and you're just speak about things like most people fucking speak about things, and have normal opinions and thoughts, and try not to be somebody that you're not, and try not to be some buttoned up robot, you'll actually resonate with everyone, or pretty much everyone, or at least an enormous chunk of people that will then continue to build and grow your audience. And that's what we do. We don't talk about golf with any crazy analytical background. Yeah, we try to be prepared. We try to be up to date on what the hell's going on so that we can bring them up and discuss them on the show. But we talk about golf like normal people talk about fucking golf. And that's what Barstool is. That's why Chicks in the Office, they talk about entertainment and what's going on in TV shows like normal people that are sitting around having a wine night watching The Bachelor talk about that. And the same with Pardon My Take and football, and the same with Dave and what he's done. And that's what we do. And that's exactly what Brandel was alluding to. And again, that's why I kind of brought in sort of the whole, shifting cultural landscape, and that things are more casual and more chill and more raw and real. And there's less of this like professionalism in all of the world now, because I think professionalism is largely just a term for pretending you're somebody that you're not and acting a way that you don't typically act. And what we, do, and what golf is now bringing out in people, is that you're out there to have fucking fun. There's 4.5 hours that golf is competing for, with so many other ways to entertain folks. There's streaming services. There's esports. There's a million new games popping up all of the time. There's more access now to finding ways to entertain yourself than there ever was before. People are almost never bored now. It's almost impossible to be bored. You have so many options to entertain yourself. Golf is trying to capture 4.5, 5.5, 6 hours of your time if you factor in the commutes each way and a beer afterwards. That golf needs to be fucking super fun. Otherwise, it's going to lose out. People are going to find other stuff to do. It's going to be impossible for them to justify with their friend group or with their wife or with their kids that they're going to leave for 5 hours and go do something. It needs to be awesome. And people now are expressing themselves in the golf world saying, like, I want to be able to wear what I want. I want to be able to be comfortable. I want to be able to listen to what I want to listen to. I want to be able to hit shots the way that I want to hit shots, play by whatever rules I want to fucking play by. And the fact that Golf Forever was against that, I think, was a big part of the reason you saw declining numbers and declining numbers and declining numbers. People leaving the game, people not playing as many rounds. Now that it's embraced that, accompanied obviously with golf being one of the main things people were still allowed to do during the pandemic. But I think people are sticking around and being like, yeah, golf actually is more accepting than I thought it was going to be. This is really fun being out here ripping around in a golf cart, hitting shots, being able to occasionally hit a drive 250, 300 yards. And have a good time with my buddies. And it doesn't matter how I play. It doesn't matter what I look like or what outfits I wear or the way that I speak when I walk into the clubhouse. Yeah, there's certain occasions where we like that. We've said that many times. We like that Augusta holds itself to that. And it feels like it's the 50s. But you can't have that everywhere. You need to overall be able to be accepting of people being whoever the fuck they want to be when they play golf. And that's why golf, I think, is continuing to boom. And that's the only way it's going to boom.
Yes.
And Brandel's right.
More.
Brandel Chamblee fucking said that. Our guy. He said vaping. He said maybe have a vape. I think he said that.
Did he say that?
I think he said maybe have a vape. I don't want to dog him. The terminology was fun, but it was funny because then Rich Lerner was like, did you just say vaping on this program? And he was like, people should be able to do whatever they want on the golf course. He was right, but it was very funny to hear Brandel say that.
Yeah, picturing Brandel say vape is very, very funny.
It was funny. So he's right. Big shout out to Brandel. He's the man, and we owe him some beers because we put that on a T-shirt that people can get at store.barstoolsports.com, and they're really good T-shirts with the
selling like hotcakes. The people
they're
say.
selling fast. Our design team too is. How about our graphics team whipping up that little sketch of the 16th hole?
It's insane.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that even. Maybe of just that sketch, whatever that sketch might be. Who knows what that sketch is?
Yeah, it could be anything. Yeah. Really could be anything.
Yeah, it's just a cool sketch. Whatever they came up with there. Art. I don't understand
art. Beers on that green,
but I liked it.
Can we talk about Joel Dahmen and Harry Higgs?
Loved it. Loved every second of it.
Are they not the best?
Mm-hmm.
Harry Higgs with that premeditated thought to say, if I'm gonna drain this putt, I'm going nips out for the boys, is so good. It's so good. The crowd loved it as expected, and that it was Happy Gilmore. It was chaos.
It was.
The way the cameras were on Higgs, and then they went to the crowd, and then when they came back to Higgs, he's running around the green, and Dahmen's just in the middle of the green, just going crazy with his shirt off. It was unmitigated chaos.
Yes. And it was beautiful, and it took over everything once again. People were throwing beers again when they did that.
Amazing. Just
right, like, and if
amazing.
people don't question this, but if they were to ever question why we love those two so much and why we have them on the show, why we played a 4-man scramble against Dahmen, who I would imagine we're eventually going to go against Higgs, like, these are the guys. Like, these are the types of guys that we love, that the game of golf loves, that more people should love. And we're talking a lot about, like, how to grow the game and, like, what to embrace. And, like, those two, their voices are the ones you want to amplify because they're funny, they're normal, they love golf, they're spectacular at golf, and they're just they're the type of people that once you introduce them to someone else, they're going to love them too. So it's like you want to keep showing people Joel Dahmen and Harry Higgs because you know that they're going to like them and in turn are going to like the game of golf more. And the more you have of that, the better. And the Netflix show, which I understood that they're obviously out in Scottsdale and they were filming during this whole thing and following these two, like the footage from all of that whole thing is going to be so great that, like, I just can't speak highly enough about Harry Higgs and Joel Dahmen because they're fucking awesome.
Those guys are so cool and so good for golf and so the opposite of what I think a lot of the negative stereotypes are about golf, that they're going to continue to be huge for the game. And then I got to give a shout out to those guys too. Our guys, just the access and acceptance that they have of us, of me this past week. I mean, at one point I walked up, JT Poston, by the way, we've had him on the show. He's the fucking man, too. I'm going to lump him in with those guys. Him, Keith Mitchell, Poston's caddy, Aaron Fleener is an awesome guy. But I rolled up, you know, you guys know how it is. When we have these inside the ropes passes, like, we don't really know what to do with them. We don't really have much of a plan. We don't know what to do. We're just out there to try to get some insight and just kind of be in the mix. We're just like, I think if we're in the mix, it could be like good, and we'll see what happens. I rolled up to the 10th tee on Thursday, and it was Joel Dahmen, Keith Mitchell, and JT Poston standing on the tee. And immediately, every one of them walking by is like, oh, yeah, why don't you roll with us? And I'm rolling with them. And they're asking me after each shot, like, what'd you think about that? Oh, look at, you hear this guy over in the crowd, and just chit-chatting with them. And then Saturday, Max Homa's in the mix, him and his caddy, Joe. He's like, 2, 3 off the lead, 4 off the lead, maybe going into the weekend. He was in like the third to last group. And I walked the entire front nine with Max. And Max is coming over to me. He came over to me after one tee shot, walked down. People are screaming. Crowds are crazy. And he pulls me over and he's like, Riggs, what do you think you would shoot out here? Just walking the whole way up the fairway to his ball. We just debated what he thought and I thought I would shoot out there. And so you'd think these guys are like in the arena, right? They're like in uniform. They're super laser focused, and they are. But they're also been like the reason we've been able to be successful. Those guys are so cool to us, and the fact they give us like their time, they give us the time of day. Max Homa's willing to do the scramble with us next week during his week off when he's finally not supposed to play golf and travel around the world for his job. He's going to spend like 5 hours filming a video with us that it's not a sponsor's exemption. We're not paying him for it. He's legit just going to be like, yeah, I'm going to spend one of my days off before I fly all the way to Florida and then continue traveling all over the world for my job. I'm going to spend 5 hours filming a video with you guys because it's just going to be fun. So I got to give a shout out to that whole crew of guys who have just welcomed us, and this past week was no different. It was actually even cooler than majors because majors, everybody's a little bit more serious. But just being in there and literally hearing every single thing and having these guys not like scoff at the idea that I was kind of in there, but just be like almost I was just part of like the group. Felt like I was somebody's caddy just like rolling around with the fellas out there. Yet they're playing professional golf at an extremely high level to the point. I mean, Max Homa could have won the tournament really easily. Our guys are just cool as fuck, and I think they're great for golf.
I saw you carrying around a backpack. What'd you have in the backpack?
I was throwing out head covers on 16.
Wow.
Oh. Smart.
Yeah, I threw out a bunch of head covers. I mean, you guys know we get endless stuff sent to us anytime we release a new item for the store. Like they send a shit ton to us. So I threw out like a Peter Millar quarter zip at one point. I threw out a bunch of head covers, a bunch of towels, some hats, those bucket hats that we got. And people are going nuts. You flash a fucking head cover in front of a crowd of people on 16. The only thing that was tough is I couldn't film it at the same time. So I had like a backpack thing. So I was trying to get the footage, but throwing out head covers. You know, we say a lot of times like a camera is like an idiot magnet, like when our guys walk around with a camera at like a big event because everybody just comes running over. They want to be in front of the camera. This was like a crowd fucking pleaser when you pulled a head cover out. So we're getting ready to throw
it. Any hockey game ever, they toss out the worst triple XL t-shirt of all time. People literally punch children in the face to get it.
In that situation, you could be throwing steak knives and people would be like, I want it. Give it to me. They'll take whatever you got. So if it's something that they're going to be able to use, like a head cover, yeah, they're going to be excited about that.
Yep. So I was throwing out head covers. Kind of annoying because 16 is obviously really late in the round. And I kept like meeting up with guys. Be like, I'll follow you for the round. So I'd have to carry around that giant backpack with a bunch of shit in it until we got there. So it was actually a little more annoying than I wanted it to be, but it was worth it. People were going nuts for that. So I was throwing out little merch to people. But again, store.barstoolsports.com. Go check that out, and you can acquire anything that you didn't get from me throwing.
We've got head covers in there. Those new Arizona style head covers. I've got 2 of them on my bag. I've got the putter mallet cover one and the 3-wood one. Oh yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, which you should be because I've already yelled at you to go fucking subscribe and watch on here. It's you know, it's as good as it gets. It's got the freaking lemon right there for the iced tea, and it's as good as it gets for a summer head cover. Amazing color scheme. Something that if you were at a clubhouse, if you were at a pro shop at a golf course, you see that thing in the pro shop, you're like, I need to have that. It pops on every single golf bag.
Couldn't agree more. They're sick, and we always roll out new stuff. So please check out our store. I saw Brilliantly Dumb, our boy Robbie Berger out there.
Yep, the GOAT. Love Robbie Berger.
The GOAT. He cracks me up. He just cracks me up. His voice is so funny. He had a couple of his boys with him. They were super cool and chit-chat. I felt bad I didn't get to chit-chat with them for too long, probably 10 or 15 minutes. But we're playing a match against them. For anybody that doesn't know, that's coming up within the next month or so, which is going to be great. I think people are going to go crazy for that. And then I met the good guys as well. It was brief. Again, I felt bad because it's kind of in passing and everybody's busy. But they were super nice, too. I think I met, like, the whole crew. I don't follow all their stuff. I didn't know who all was there. But met them really briefly. And they were super nice. And it's just one of those weeks where everybody's in town. Like, the whole fucking golf world, it feels like, is in town for the Waste Management. So you're meeting 1,000 different people, and everybody's kind of rushing and trying to get stuff, but also trying to enjoy themselves. It's hectic but fun. And then we had Charley Hoffman, who he set golf Twitter on fire. And I was tempted to just I almost wanted to satirically just Saturday morning or something, because he sent this, I think, on Friday evening. I wanted to satirically just start backing Charley Hoffman, because golf Twitter, when they all get piling on and they all just like compliment each other on how great their like digs are at this one person that they're hating, which was Charley Hoffman on Friday night, it's so infuriating, and they could be the worst, that I wanted to take the other side of it. But Charley Hoffman's Instagram post was incredible. He wrote, "What a joke, USGA PGA Tour. Today on the 13th hole, I hit my drive in the water, took a drop on the side of a hill that had no grass, dropped twice, then placed the ball on a small turf of grass," which is what happens if your ball keeps falling in the water. Turned around and the ball started rolling into the water. This is what happened to Ricky Fowler a few years ago when he won. He goes on, "I was under the impression that the USGA had changed that rule. I was wrong," which just explaining in something that you're pissed off about, that you were wrong about the rule, is very funny in and of itself. He said, had to take another penalty for doing nothing wrong at all, which he just said that he did something wrong. Did everything by the book. It's still mind-blowing that a group of amateurs rule the professional game of golf. I also blame the PGA Tour rules officials, which he tagged, for putting out a terrible penalty area line where this could even happen. No accountability at any level here. No protection for the players at all. You wonder why guys are wanting to jump ship and go play on another tour. Players need transparency, protection, and consistency. We don't have that under the current governing bodies. And then he tagged a bunch of golf outlets and me and the Saudis. Sorry, Jay Monahan. We need to do better at all levels of the PGA Tour, and tagging them again, including myself, who represent the players and the board of the tour. If we don't, we won't have a tour any longer. Hopefully there will be a change.
You think some of the beers that were being thrown from 16 landed in Charley Hoffman's hand, or what? I mean, what caused him to fire this one off? Because then the next day it was such a, I am so sorry, I never should have said that about the PGA Tour. We love you.
Yeah, and I also think, and this I guess goes for anybody who posts anything, but you think you know what the reaction's going to be.
I've been on the other side of that from time to
right.
time.
And then when it's not that, and I've been on that side of it too, where you're just like, fuck, that sucks that I'm on the other side of that. So I understand that part of it. And I'm not the first one to say this either, but like calling for transparency while also, talking about the Saudi League and being like, this is why people are going to go over there. Like, that's obviously a conflict there. So he was mad. He was clearly upset about what was going on. He wanted to talk about it. He wanted to post about it. He wants Riggs Barstool to come help him out and be, his lawyer, his internet lawyer in a sense. And it just didn't work out. And yeah, the next morning he was seemingly very apologetic and being like, I love the PGA Tour. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, we've had very good, we love Charley Hoffman. And, we talked to him most recently, E-Bug and I were out at Torrey Pines when we were doing Behind the Greens. And, he was just putting around because he was from the area, obviously. And he was there a month or two before the tournament. And he gave us all the time in the world to talk about like growing up in that area and playing Torrey Pines, and just like couldn't have been a nicer guy, and loved what we were doing with Behind the Greens and for the game. And he obviously came to Borelli's that night with Kiz. And
yeah,
I fucking love Charley Hoffman. And I agree with you, Riggs. It infuriates me to watch just like that circle jerk Twitter golf media conglomerate that loves to just who can come up with the wittiest, funniest, and
you win the internet today. That's my
just
least
like,
favorite
how
thing.
can we be this like witty Twitter golf account? And people can, at 1 + 1 = 2. You probably know the fuck we're all talking about. There's this little group on Twitter that is insanely annoying, and who gives a fuck that Charley Hoffman said this? I just like it. Everyone acts like this is what's wrong with the game of golf. Like the guy just rattled off like why he's mad about a rule.
He's
like
just
every
ranting.
other guy
He's pissed
does.
off and ranting.
Just like
We've all
every other
done
guy
that.
does. Everyone does that on the planet. We all rant. Like it's. I don't know. I just didn't see this to be as crazy. The Saudi tweet, the Saudi tag was the thing that was the problem.
Yeah.
Aside from that, like who gives a fuck?
So I couldn't agree more, Frankie. And yes,
Yeah.
like we're gonna make fun of the post, and there's a lot of parts of it that you could break down and be like, "What the hell were you thinking here?" I'm sure if you broke it down, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, probably should have said that. I was having a little bit of a burr." But like they were basically piling on that now they think and believe that he's like public enemy number one, and that every angle that he's coming from is horrific, and that's why there's bad regimes in the world, and he wants journalists to get chopped up, and you're like, what? Like, no, he was just ranting. And the best part of this was Danny Rappaport, who I think tweeted out, he was so excited to see the reception for Charley Hoffman on 16 on Saturday, and there wasn't a fucking peep about any of this from anybody on 16.
Because the people that are complaining on Twitter don't
Right.
have any actual influence on what's happening in the actual golf world.
Exactly.
Which is, we just had a huge hour-long podcast talking about how the golf world is the people now in the stands of 16. That's just a new generation of golfers. They don't give a fuck about what's happening on Twitter and your arguments and your witty tweets and your hashtags and all of the fucking shit that you're going to try and come up with and be like the voice of golf on Twitter. Who cares about all that shit? No one cared about what Charley Hoffman said.
Nobody cared. It didn't really, truly matter, and that was incredibly, incredibly obvious. So, we're gonna poke fun at it. It is hilarious. There's a massive contradictions with saying, we want transparency, and then there's, the Saudis who again are well documented that if there's any adverse opinions or transparency wanted there, it's probably not going to go well for you. So tagging them. Totally understand that. He definitely deserves some shots, some chirps. He got them. But I do think the golf Twitter circle jerk about, piling on this guy is so fucking annoying and makes me hate that whole, just every time that happens, it makes me hate that entire process so much that I wanted to just be rooting for Charley Hoffman. And we love Charley Hoffman, so he'll be fine. And nothing made that more clear than he walked out on 16 and like, one person said something. I wish I could find his tweet really quick. Oh, here we go. He said, oh, by the way, one other thing real quick. Charley Hoffman then started, I believe, Saturday is next to the 10th and 11th holes, I think. He hit balls into penalty areas when he started this round Saturday after the whole rant. But Danny Rappaport tweeted, the response to Charley Hoffman sent a clear message. Fans are not dummies. They won't fall for BS justifications for Saudi. It's a money grab and everybody knows it. Remember, the fans, not money, torpedo the soccer, Super League, blah, blah, blah. And then he went on when it came to his actual shot. And he said, hold on, let me find this. Hoffman.
There's going to be another golf podcast out there somewhere on iTunes that's going to break this tweet down for 4 hours. So if we don't get to everything, you can go listen to that one.
Tweets a lot. Jesus Christ.
A volume tweeter.
There's nothing wrong with being a volume tweeter, I'll tell you that much.
No, not at all. It's also refreshing that what goes on Twitter, even for me, I'm saying for me personally, like that the world doesn't care. Like, you just
a bunch of dudes that want to be relevant and they make people want to care.
But I mean, we talked about it earlier. I'm a Twitter guy. I love Twitter. I think it's the best platform we got. But it's like, it's nice to know that for the most part, it's a small percentage of people just talking shit.
So people that say Frankie should die and not be on the podcast, and then when we're in person, not one person's ever said that to any of us about anything. It's not real.
That's true too.
It's just not real. So what Dan Rappaport tweeted was going to have to be at 16 when my man Charley comes through. This is my civic duty to you, golf Twitter. Then he quote tweeted that himself, and he just wrote, very anticlimactic, a few isolated chirps, but nothing major. A reminder that Twitter is a very small place compared to the real world, which again is kind of sums up everything that we are saying, which is that, Twitter and golf Twitter, it's just this feeling of so much self-importance that little sect has, when in reality, most people just do not care, and Twitter's an extremely small place. So the whole Charley Hoffman thing being amplified and people trying to paint it like he's the worst person in the world because he had a rant where he tagged a few things he probably shouldn't have and said a few things he probably shouldn't have that didn't make a ton of sense. We still love Charley Hoffman. We'll always love Charley Hoffman. We're going to break down his ridiculous Instagram posts and make fun of him. And next time we have him on the show, we're probably going to make fun of him for it. But I still love Charley Hoffman.
Dude, I love Charley Hoffman as well. Ask my dad about this Charley Hoffman thing. And he'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, my dad is a big golf fan. He loves it, watches pretty much all of the tournaments. And if I texted him or I called him and was like, man, that Charley Hoffman Instagram post, he'd be like, why? What are we talking about? Like, I want to talk about something else because I don't even know what you're referring to.
The more we're around regular people, like I just went to that Super Bowl party and watched the Super Bowl and turned off the golf for the playoff and watched it on my phone. The more you're around that, people don't know anything about anything.
No.
Like, it has to be crazy viral or like a 15-second thing that they saw on Instagram. We're like, oh yeah, I saw that. That was pretty funny. Like, no one actually cares about any of this shit. That's why podcasts like this exist. We're kind of like relaying what the fuck is going on, right? Like, half the people listening to this probably don't even really care about what Charley Hoffman said or even saw it.
And they're getting their
they didn't
news
see
from
it.
us. People legit,
Right.
like, I'm sure you guys all get it. I get texts every time. People are like, how about that one story? And I'm like, oh, we talked about it on the podcast that came out on Tuesday. That all went down on the internet on Friday. Like, you didn't
Crazy.
know about that? Like,
No
of
one
course I
knows
didn't fucking
anything
know
that's
about that. How the
going
fuck
on.
am I supposed to know about that? You know
Yeah,
what I was
we were
doing Friday
saying-
night? I was getting blackout fucking drunk at a bar. I'm not on Twitter like paying attention to golf.
No.
Twitter.
Not to take shots at my dad. I'm not taking shots at him, but like when this didn't actually happen, but me and John Feidelberg were talking about it on Twitter. Like when the news came out that he had retired, and people were just Adam Schefter reported that he retired. Like for most of the people in the world, the people who watch like ESPN, like or those traditional news outlets, he retired, and they just figured he retired, But then there's all this conversation on Twitter like, oh, but it didn't actually come from him, and we got to get the word from him, and if it's not from him, then I don't believe it. And Adam Schefter, he should lose his job and lose his Twitter account and all that. And then like nobody cares about that. Like, and then by the time Tom Brady actually announces, everyone who thought he retired who doesn't go on Twitter is just like, oh, I already thought that already happened, and then that's
Yes.
it, and people just go, and nobody cares about any of this shit.
Dude,
But I like it because I'm an
you see
internet guy. But you
I
do
know.
have to come to the realization that like the vast majority, nobody gives a fuck about any.
Well,
of
the
this.
big thing for us is like actual videos for sure. People like to sit down and watch. It's a form of entertainment. The stuff like the Barstool Classic, it's real life. You see that you have the fans. They're there. They're actually engaging with you. You'll see a tweet that gets 120,000 likes, something like a Tom Brady breaking news tweet that maybe this didn't come from him. 120,000 people. It seems like it's like the whole world. It's like Nassau County on Long Island has 1.5 million people. We act like when something goes 120,000 people, like everyone in the world knows this news right now. I don't know, dude. It's like, that's like East Meadow. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that's spread across the whole world. It's like 160,000 people is like
Literally
infinite amount
nobody.
on Twitter.
that's like
but
a
it's
little
nothing.
bit more. That's more like that's about
I've
how
had
many
a
people
golf
live in
club
Cedar
on
Rapids.
for half this podcast.
Why are
for
you
some
wearing a
reason.
golf club?
I don't know. It just was on my desk. No, it's
We're in a
just
golf
it's-
club this whole time?
It just kind of got on me, and I noticed it as I was moving my hands. I don't know. It just kind of came on me.
The big stuff matters. Like
poor
the
choice
big
of words.
videos, people know about those. Like you go anywhere, everybody knows for the most part about Dave's Pizza Reviews. Like they know who that guy is, what he does. He's like, oh, he's the guy who eats pizza. But in terms of just like everything else in regards to like the minutia of what goes on Twitter, most people have no idea.
No, I'm talking Twitter specifically. I think there's a huge difference between like Instagram, YouTube, something about videos. It just reaches more people. It's more of a conversation piece. Twitter is just, it's so fast and it's so viral, and it's just like we act like it's just like we got to get all these fucking things out. No one's fucking seeing it, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like no one's fucking,
you
the
need
real
to-
world's not even seeing it.
In order to really know, you need to be glued into the whole conversation in
Yep.
order to really understand the Twitter beef or back and forth. Like if you're just a lurker and you're just scrolling for 20 seconds while you're fucking waiting for your pizza to come up or something, you're not stopping at like somebody's reaction to another tweet and then being like, I'm going to go to the whole background of what you're just like, fuck this. You scroll through. I'm looking for a funny video. Oh, there's fucking Trent. Great shot, Trent. And then you're just
I got
like,
Seth
on
Waugh,
your
like
pizza.
the leader of the PGA of America, following me on Twitter, and I tweet about the Islanders making me want to come. There's no way that platform is important in any sort of way. There's the fact that that's allowed to happen on that platform means that there's got to be a reason why it's not real. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Oh yeah, because I have,
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, I have people who follow me who are not as important as Seth Waugh, but like who are notable people. I send out 40 Bachelor tweets a week to, and those people they don't care about that. Nobody, the people who care about it, but the people who don't, they're just like going right by it. Twitter does move so fast that like there'll be beefs at Barstool that'll happen that I won't even know about.
You just miss them.
And I am a guy who pays attention on Twitter. So imagine the people who don't getting involved in things like that. It really is, it's eye-opening when you realize, particular Twitter, how many people just don't know or don't care.
You know what people are gonna care about? And I'm seeing messages about this. We talk a lot about space, and we talk a lot about the universe and golf, and specifically the moon. We're working on this new piece of merchandise that I just saw an image for regarding space, golf, moon. It is fucking insane how good this crew neck sweater I just saw is. So that's just a little tease. I'm sorry. I had to. And we might even be doing a collaboration with in-house with another podcast at Barstool Sports. My goodness, is this thing good. Sorry, I know that kind of derailed that, but...
No, we were kind of going in circles anyway.
I've seen it too, and it's very good, which kind of ties into Shopify, which gives entrepreneurs. You guys each say entrepreneur real quick?
Entrepreneur.
That was better than I thought. The resources once reserved for big business. So upstart startups and established businesses alike can sell everywhere, synchronized online and in-person sales, and effortlessly stay informed. Scaling your business is a journey of endless possibility. Believe me, this podcast started out, the first t-shirts we sold were just Ryder Cup t-shirts with Jordan Spieth and Patrick Reed on them together, which is, I mean, think about how much the golf world has changed since then. Now we're selling golf bags, Peter Millar quarter zips, rowback hoodies, Unreal hoodies, all kinds of amazing stuff. Head covers that we just talked about. We got space merch coming out.
So good. It's everything I've ever wanted. It's all the things all the things I can't understand on one shirt. Golf and space.
So like ours, Shopify powers millions of businesses from first sale to full scale. Reach customers online and across social networks with an ever-growing suite of channel integrations and apps, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and more. They didn't even include Twitter there, so that tells you everything we were talking about earlier. Synchronize your online and in-person sales. Gain insights as you grow with detailed reporting of conversion rates, profit margins, and beyond. More than a store, Shopify grows with you. This is Possibility, powered by Shopify. Go to shopify.com/Fore, all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. Grow your business with Shopify today. Go to shopify.com/Fore right now. That is shopify.com/Fore. All right, boys and girls, we have the Ace Master himself, the hole-in-one Saturday at the Waste Management Phoenix Open that sent the world into a frenzy. Here is Sam Ryder. We obviously got Sam Ryder. He got the first ace in 7 years on the 16th hole on Saturday of all days, which is unbelievable. We got Lurch, Frankie, and myself here too. But I was there. So I was in the crowd. I had just gone from following a bunch of groups, got to 16, threw out a bunch of head covers, and then I was up on like the first level kind of mezzanine where it's kind of nice walking through the suites, and then all of a sudden it felt like a bomb went off and people were just going crazy. So from your vantage point, I'm sure it's all just a blur at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a blur, honestly. I was kind of playing shitty, I was 2 over for the day. Like Kirk, I was playing with Kirk and Brian Harmon. So you got Kirk, who's like, doesn't even have a pulse. I mean, the guy is just like, so level the whole time. Tees off, hits a good shot. And then I, followed him, and I was before Harmon, and Yeah, it was nuts. I mean, I'm thinking about looking at Harman's face, like, because originally when it went in and the place erupted, Harman was like, and I love Harman. He's one of my favorite guys on tour, but he's not necessarily like the happiest guy all the time out there, but he gave me, like, we had a good high five and celebration. Then all of a sudden it was like, shit, like, how am I going to hit? Like, there's stuff everywhere. So he ended up having to wait for 20 minutes. But yeah, it really was kind of a blur. I mean, it was just, dude, I mean, I can't imagine any kind of, I was talking with some of the guys about it, like, because like winning is a different kind of adrenaline rush, right? And I haven't won on the PGA Tour. I've won at some lower levels, but it almost usually, like, you kind of expect it, or it kind of builds. And that's one of those things where it was just so spontaneous. And especially after kind of like not having the best day. Yeah, I was like going to 17. I was like trying to come down a little bit and just like finish the round a little. So it's crazy.
You're having, like you said, you're having kind of an up and down day, especially after, what'd you shoot on Friday? Like 64 or something like that?
Yeah, I shot 7 under on Friday.
So you're probably coming out thinking like, okay, baby, today's my day. It's Saturday at Waste Management. It's one of the most chaotic days in the world of golf. Bunch of bogeys. You start making a couple birdies. You birdie 15. Walk me through, like, walking off the green on 15. Walk me through the next, 20 minutes, basically.
Well, I think in the walking off 15, so Kirk just went on a good run because he got off to a bad start that day too. And Harman was kind of playing steady all day. So I got off to a bad start. Like you said, I battled back, made a sloppy double on 11. It was just like, it was one of those days. And then I was like, one of those things where I could red line at any point, and I was trying to like stay patient because like you got 13's a par 5 and you got 15 and 16 you can make a birdie, and then 17's drivable, so you can make, I mean, historically you can make some birdies right there, or even an eagle or whatever. So walking off that green, I'm 2 over for the day, and Saturday is just a different animal. Like, Saturday is just a completely different beast out there. Like, I mean, there's no other, I've only played in a couple majors, but there's no other environment that you just feel like you're just in a little cage, like, because there's 20,000 people in really not that big of an area. And I was just trying to, I mean, I didn't even know where the pin was. I didn't know anything. So I watched kind of Kirk tee off, and we're actually on the clock. I actually forgot about that.
Oh, wow.
We have one of the rules officials is kind of timing us because we fell behind with rulings and stuff. And Kirk hits like just a really solid shot in the middle of the green, like anything you could really want. Like, you're just trying to really, that pin is tucked just left. If it gets left, you saw Cantlay hit in the bunker. Like, if it starts going, like, I didn't know where my ball would have ended up if it didn't hit the hole. It looked like it was moving pretty slow, so it probably would have been fine. But yeah, I mean, I was just watching Kirk tee off first, kind of cleared up everything for me because the yardage is like 124. I watched him hit a gap wedge pretty smooth, and he hit it well past the pin. That's a hole where you always club down. I mean, goes without saying. And I pulled a 54, and I told my caddy, I was like, it's just perfect, right? There was like no dialogue at all. We're like, could it be anything else? The wind was kind of off the right. And, it's just, you're in there, and there's so much noise that it's like, you can kind of pick out a couple little things. Like, I get like a Go Hatters or something, like where I went to school, or I get like some random, like, don't hit in the bunker. Like, you hear these random things, but
Fucking asshole.
I mean, it's all
bunker.
yeah. I mean, but you just like, it just is what it is. And that I pulled a 54-degree wedge, which typically is like a 115 stock. Like, that's all I really usually get out of it. In that environment, I'm flying it easily 125, and I just, with the wind off the right, maybe just a touch of help. It was one of those things where when it took off in the air, and it did feel like the time kind of slowed down a little bit, because I do remember kind of watching it in the air, and Harman was right there to my left. And these fans have seen so many balls, like you were there. They've seen so many shots come in there. So they know at this point, like, what's a good shot and what's not a good shot. So they were starting to get loud as it was kind of like reaching its apex and like coming down. And it was like a positive loud. It was like, oh. So I was like, this thing looks good. It just never really kind of left. Like, it was like I probably pulled it a yard. Like, I mean, I wasn't necessarily trying to make it, but I was trying to be pretty aggressive with that club. And the wind maybe took it maybe 1 or 2 more yards. And right when it landed, I mean, we've been there. You guys play golf. You've been there where you see like a ball starts spinning and the ball and the pin are going to cross at some point or another. And it looks good, but you really don't like how often does the ball actually stop,
Never.
And it hardly ever stops, right? Like, boy, how many hole-in-ones do you have, Lurch?
0. So never.
Okay,
It's never happened.
It's never done that. Just never ever
Literally
disappeared.
never stopped.
Just
It's on a
appears on the
watch,
other side.
yeah,
Then it's
so
like 15 feet behind it every time.
Right.
Like, all right.
Exactly. We've all been there. And it just disappeared and Harmon was right there. And like, it was just so spontaneous. There was no plan. I mean, my caddy came over, Brent, he's such a chill guy. Like doesn't get up, doesn't get low. I mean, doesn't get down and like came over the embrace. I think he got a little bit of shit. Like the next day we came out in the morning and we're playing with Russell Knox and his caddy. He's like, can you guys recreate that for us?
That's great.
He's like, no chance. But yeah, my parents were in there. One of the cool things they do is like, my parents love going out there because they like get to go to the concerts. They saw Macklemore and Sam Hunt and all this stuff. And it's just a big party, but the family and everything, they get to come into 16 because there's no other way that they would be able to watch the golf shots if they don't come in. So they get to hang out. And then as it's all kind of dying down, there's beer everywhere. I high five Colt, like Amanda's right there, like, cause they have the whole thing, like their CBS setup is right there. And then my mom is right there and she's like freaking losing her mind. I didn't see my dad or anything, but yeah, it was just like that first little instant after was just kind of like insane. And then I was like, there was just beer cans everywhere. And Harmon said something funny because I think they were like, and I don't know if this is like, if he was serious or not, but the rules official came over and was like, do you want to hit or do you want to let us like clear the stuff? And he was like, are you kidding me? Like there's hundreds of beer cans all over the green.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to hit, my ball could hit that. And I was just like, man, like Harmon has to hit still. It was probably 20 minutes before he hit. But they did it. I mean, they did it on, and then of course he like 3 putts. Like, right. So I was like, all I was thinking at the time was like, dude, it was such a positive thing. Like, I don't want something that's so positive and so good to turn somewhat sour or negative because a beer can hits someone or, right. The course gets messed up a little bit or the pace of play gets totally screwed or whatever. So, but I mean, yeah, it was just, I seemed like the Scottsdale PD did a really good job. The maintenance crew came up. I got beers for the maintenance crew, but I got beers for everyone. I mean, it was just when the people stopped throwing stuff and they started clearing, like they did it like really fast. Like it was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Like, and then next thing you know, like they're throwing beers, like, and Joel Dahmen's chugging one the next day, making par.
Of course, Joel and Harry Higgs are up there just ripping them
shirts off.
It was so yeah. That whole, I don't think anybody expected that, right? Like everybody was excited for a hole in one, and clearly they move it up and move the tee up, and the pin was front left, and so the Thunderbirds, everybody clearly like want there to be a little bit more excitement, but I don't think anybody prepared for that, and for them to clean it up that fast, I thought was incredibly impressive. I was walking around actually with Sleaze, with Drew Stoltz at the time. We were walking because he's a Thunderbird, and we were actually down. We missed you by fucking one group because we were down there for like 2 or 3 groups hitting through, and then he was like holding up a quiet sign, and he's like, all right, I'm done with my duty of the quiet sign. You want to go up and get a drink? I'm like, yep. So we legit are walking through the mezzanine on the first level, grab a drink, and we both kind of ran into a bunch of people we knew, so we're stopping here and there, and then all of a sudden, like you just said, the positive anticipation buzz started, and you're right, like the fans have been there watching every shot, so they know. So it's like, oh, and then the place started shaking and beers started, so everybody runs over to the edge and leans out, and he's like, it was Sam fucking Ryder, and we're going nuts. And then we're like, oh no, like we started to immediately think, oh no, because we could tell Harmon still had a club in his hand and a ball, and we were like, oh, he's never gonna be able to hit because beers were raining down. I'm talking like 6 minutes after your ball hit the bottom of the hole, beers were still raining down out there. And we were like, dude, he's never going to be able to hit.
Once they started cleaning stuff, they were still throwing shit down. They were still throwing beers down. And like, I wanted to get the picture of Harmon's face when it initially went in, where he's like this, and there's a big smile on his face. I'm like, that is the nicest thing I've ever seen Harmon do. Like, and like just a picture of the happiness, like him high-fiving me, because that turned sour pretty quickly. He's like, oh, wow. Like it reminded me of like the Happy Gilmore, like Shooter McGavin, like go back to your shanties. Like
exactly.
He was just like, what is going on? But I think, was it one of you guys, like I think it was maybe Lurch or someone put like the Matt Wallace was on the range or someone was hitting.
Yeah.
I think it was Riggs put that out.
I tweeted that.
Riggs. So you put
that was my favorite angle of the whole thing.
I know. I saw that tweet and I thought that was great, because Matt Wallace, who's like notorious for like taking swing videos and stuff too, like it was just like unmistakable. Like when I play with like Stu, they were like, because the craziest thing is I played the next day and then Carlos Ortiz makes the 1 when I'm on 10 green right there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm on 10 green and then it like erupts. But it was like Stewart Singh came over to me. He's like, yesterday's news, man. Like it's over. And I was like, but they were like, the roar and everything doesn't compare. Like, like everyone's getting ready for the Super Bowl, really. Like Sunday is docile compared to Saturday. So, I mean, and I was playing pretty well. So it was pretty late in the afternoon. Everyone's super sauced up. Like they've been there since, 6 a.m. or, lining up at 4:30 or whatever. People were saying they were lining up at 4:30 and there was hundreds of people in front of them in line already. So,
dude, you legit authored probably like one of the loudest roars in the history of sports. I mean, when would there be a roar that would be louder than that? You had like 30,000 shit-faced people going nuts for an event that never happens. There hasn't been an ace there in 7 years, and it was the Saturday. Like you said, it wasn't Sunday. It wasn't Thursday morning. It was Saturday. People been there since 5 a.m., boozing their faces off. They were ready for an ace. They'd seen a couple close calls, and you just dunked one. And that angle from the driving range I loved, because everyone was kind of wondering, like, man, was that roar just that crazy because the cameras and all the audio is inside the 16th? Or like, what did that sound like from 100 yards away or 300 yards away? And that angle, like, that was such a cool moment where he just was like, oh, it's a hole in one. There's nothing else that could be.
Nothing else that could be. Yeah, it was. And then the beer mist was everywhere too. No, that's an interesting question, because I didn't think, like, I was immediately thinking of like Tiger, like when he made a hole in one, but that wasn't all enclosed, So I don't know how many people they had there though, because it wasn't contained at all. So who knows how many people? There could have been far more people, but it wasn't. I'm thinking like, and then I grew up in Orlando, so our old Magic, I'm trying to just relate it to something, because our old like arena, they called it, was just this little cracker jack. So when it was like Shaq and Penny days, it was like you're kind of there's no bad seats, you're on top of everyone. But I mean, Cameron Indoor or something like that, like, but how many people are there? So I don't know. Like, it's just, it was pretty. I think like a buzzer beater or something like that. Like,
I mean, it's up there with like walk-off home runs. I'm thinking of like Tino Martinez hit a home run for the Yankees, a grand slam, and like Yankee Stadium legitimately almost like crumbled. You know what I mean? In the late 90s. But you want to talk about pop, like just immediate pop and decibel. Like, they talk about Seattle Seahawks and the 12th man, and they have the decibel rating during the football games, and it's always, like, breaking the record. Like, you want to talk about straight pop? I think that has to be definitely top 5 in sports of all time. It has to be. Because of it has to be.
Yeah, if it is. I mean, you guys would know much better than I would, but yeah.
Dude, you talked about the Orlando Magic. I just watched that 30 for 30 on the fucking plane the other day. Of the whole just Shaq and Penny and the Magic and how insanely good that team was, and then just the crumble of what happened after.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just too young for all that, and it's insane. The back-to-back first picks, and then just absolute chaos. Disney Mickey Mouse ears on Shaq, and then he's like, "I'm out of here, dude."
Oh, the little penny commercials, like everything. Like, it was, that was a good time to be a Magic fan. Not as good these days, but we know how to squander some good teams. But I mean, we had a little bit of a bright spot there with Dwight. Like, we went to the finals, but I mean,
Jameer Nelson and whatnot in the mix.
Jameer Nelson and Tito Turkoglu, but
there you go.
So do you just hate the Lakers then, because like that could have just been the Magic?
I think I actually remember. I'm pretty sure Dwight missed 4 straight free throws in game 3, and if he makes one, we send it to overtime. And then they ended up like winning like the next 3 games or whatever it was. But I mean, there's no rivalry between the Magic and the Lakers. It was just kind of like, we were happy to be there, I think, more than anything else. But yeah, it's hard for me to pull for any LA teams in general. So
Right.
I mean, I didn't necessarily like
what was
him.
his name that missed the 4 free throws in
Oh, Nick Anderson.
Oh my God, 4 free throws.
Yeah.
He just
I've
needed to
heard
make
that
one.
story. I've heard that story actually firsthand from Nick Anderson. We were playing like pickup basketball at RDV Sportsplex, which is like the good gym where the Magic would practice and stuff. And they have like a fitness center or whatever, but we're kind of just playing pickup basketball. I think I'm fresh out of college or maybe high school senior. And he was like, yeah, man, like I was a 90% free throw shooter or whatever, 85%. He was an all-star. He was like, I missed those 4 free throws. And he's like, I never shot above 60% the rest of my career. And I think that's how tying it back into golf, that's what I start to relate to golf, because like I have a lot of respect for, I have a respect for all these athletes, but like the guys, like the free throw shooters, like that are just ice, like the guys, the place kickers that are ice. Like how about the guy for the Bengals that is a rookie that was just making everything? I mean, your mind can kind of like get in your own way at that point. Golf, it's like when you're shooting a free throw, there's no one playing defense on you. It's just you versus yourself. And, how many times have you done it? And then golf, there's no one trying to stop you unless you're like at 16 at Waste Management and they're trying to like.
Yeah, I mean, he got the yip. He got the yips. He said that in that 30 for 30, he actually wouldn't drive to the basket because he didn't want to go to the line. He would actually admit, I don't want to go to the line anymore.
No, he said it openly. Man. It hurt. It hurt to hear. I was like, man, because he was so good and you could just tell how it just changed him. Like, but you've seen it with golf. Like, you're susceptible to that from the tee to the green, at any point.
Easily.
Have you ever personally gone through anything like that where you maybe miss like a 3-footer and then the rest of the day you can't imagine making one?
I've never got, I don't think full blown yippee, but I've definitely hit some sketchy putts. But I think
what does that mean?
I'm gonna start calling them sketchy putts. Like I got a real.
Ooh, I just hit a sketchy one.
The one where you kind of like you just can't like pick it out of the hole fast enough. You're just kind of like, ooh, that was dicey. And sometimes you don't even know what just happened, but you just move on. But I have a lot of respect for the guys that move through that. Like guys have beat it. I think
Tiger Woods.
It's like, what's the first step? Acceptance, or first step's like denial or whatever. Yeah. So, I had, when I was playing on the Canadian tour, after I got out of college, which was like PGA Tour Canada or McKinsey Tour, whatever the heck they call it. I had full blown shanks for like the end of the season. I played a tournament in Calgary and I finished top 10. I think I had like 5 or 6 shanks that week.
Holy shit!
I started there's some upside there though.
I would do anything. I started aiming the ball off the actual hosel because I was like, that was the only way I could start to, because you think like, okay, I'm hitting the hosel. That's how I'm shanking it. Like, not to get too technical about it with you guys, but like as a righty golfer to shank it, like your handle is kind of working away from you and that brings the hosel into the equation. So like but I don't want to hit the hosel. So I kind of start lining it more on the toe. So I'm just getting farther and farther away from it. So my handle is just going farther and farther away from my body. So I really just like did the exact opposite and got on top of it and just tried to swing everything like dead left. And like, it worked for a little bit, but then got a new swing coach and then tried to iron it out.
He was like, whoa.
That was
seemed like the first swing coach was just patching things up with masking tape.
Yeah,
like, let's get through the Canadian tour here.
I was doing it. It was pure grit. I think 60 guys keep your card on that tour at the time. And I was 60th going into the last event. Oh. And I was like, I had the shanks and I was like, I will do anything to just get the ball in the hole. And like, yeah, it was,
what a grind.
We got past it though.
Yeah, try to keep hitting the hosel.
Because people are like, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to say yip. They don't want to say shank.
I know.
But
I'm a little loose with it. I'm currently in the yip stage for the last 5 years with my wedges, so I'm a little loose and fast.
A little bit of that.
Yeah, I'm a little loose and fast with that. I know that when I'm talking to professional golfers, I actually shouldn't use the Y word. I've actually been told that by other people, so I do need to be more conscious of it because some people are crazy. You say that to the wrong person, and they would just hang up the Cisco WebEx, and they'd be done.
Oh, they would. I mean, but I talk about I've gone through it, so it's like everyone kind of goes through their own version of it. I mean, like the driver yips. I mean, it's happened to so many guys. So
What a game!
What a
You
game.
go from that, you go from the driver yips and the shanks and the Canadian Tour to just
I'll tell
drilling
you
an
what.
ace on fucking 16 at the waste management.
It's crazy.
Honestly, on 16, like I'd be lying if it said like if I said it didn't cross my mind. Like, what if you just cold shanked this? Like it's gone through my mind.
There.
Like I shanked one at the U.S. Open at Erin Hills so bad. Like just, I mean, straight off the hosel. But at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, it's funny and people make fun of you for a minute and then it's like moving on. Like, you know, it's just happens. Well, I saw the former Bachelor just like,
oh my god,
cold shanked one right.
Oh,
right into
that was
some
tough.
media
killed a
person's-
person, hit him right in the gooch.
That's just a bad idea for them to be there in general. Like it's one thing to be there for us or for Justin Thomas, but to be there for someone that
You let a bunch of amateurs
Did he even
play
have
through, you'll
shoes on?
kill 10 people. No,
Yeah,
no,
right.
he had nothing on.
Dude, when you're in front of that many people taking a shot, and you already walked us through your mindset, but is there a part of you that's like, let's just not embarrass ourselves right now,
Definitely.
and let's just like try and get the crowd to just be happy right now, as opposed to let's try and get a birdie here, like make a birdie?
Oh, it definitely goes through your mind. I mean, the hole is short, so you're usually only hitting some kind of a wedge.
Right.
But the way the green is, I mean, it's a nasty green.
Yeah.
Like anything to the left goes off, anything long slides off. Everything's fast. Like it seems like you're always putting back to front, which is always fast. And especially on Sunday, because I was playing pretty solid on Sunday. I was like bogey free. I was like a few under, and following up a hole in one. Like if I don't make another hole in one, these people are gonna boo you. Like it's a hole in one or bust. I mean, the amount of times people all day said, make another hole in one, like on par fours. Like I'm just like, okay.
Okay.
But yeah, I was like, get this ball in the center of the green, make a par, get out of here. I mean, it was everything about what my strategy on Sunday was just hit it to the safest possible spot I can.
Right.
And if it goes towards the pin, it's kind of a mistake. But
how nuts was the Scottsdale Police Department's video?
That
was pretty good.
Yeah, is there a favorite video that you have out there?
That probably is the best one. I mean, and not to get, too into it, but they did it like a really good job. And I talked about that week before even that happened. Like, because the environment, people are sloppy, people are stumbling and bumbling, like drunk, but like I didn't encounter anything that seemed like aggressive where it was like trying to like, they kind of like, for the most part, were trying to let people sort it out as best they can and keep it within reason. It's such a fine line because it's like people are throwing stuff. How easy is it to just like get really pissed and just be and just, but everyone kept their cool really well and they just kind of embraced it. And that's kind of what makes the event so cool and so great. There's been a couple of the ones like I think that's probably my favorite. I mean, just because it kind of captures the whole thing, but there's a couple of the ones I saw. The one that was like from the 1917 scene, like where the guys like they put my head on like the dude that's like running
away
like
from the bombs.
Mortars and stuff. And there's just like beers like going everywhere. There was another one that was like the Russell Crowe where it was like, are you not entertained? Like kind of thing. But yeah, Harmon was like, if I got hit in the head with a beer, you guys would be playing the Brian Harmon Open next year. Like I would own this place. There was one that definitely like whizzed right past me and people were,
Hucking.
Yeah,
they were gunning them, dude. They were fucking gunning them. Like
they were gunning them, and there was a lot of beer left in some of those. Like I picked a couple up and kind of tried to get them out of the way. There's a lot of liquid.
Oh,
Did you notice on tour, just like amongst the guys, everyone buys into the tournament, or Harmon obviously has a couple things to say about it once it was affecting him with the beers on the green. But like, is everyone buying in, or is it like, are some people just like not into it?
I think if you play, you're bought in pretty much. But there's a lot of guys that don't play.
Right.
I mean, and like Pat Perez is my boy. He doesn't play a lot of the years. I mean, but I can't imagine what that's like being him, like, because he went to Arizona State. He lives there. Like, he's dealing with so much more on every hole. Like, I talked to Bubba after I made a hole in one. Bubba was in there and he was like, and everyone was kind of like, Bubba was like, nice ace or whatever. And I was like, now I just know like a little bit of what it feels like to be Bubba like every single day. Like, I've played with Bubba there. People yell at him constantly, but like I said, I mean, Bubba plays well there. Like, he takes it, like, I think he's gotten a little bit, I mean, he got a little scrutiny one year for something that maybe got taken out of context. It's like, they're kind of flirting with the line, I think. And I don't know if that's the direction golf should go in all the time. But I mean, you saw the time JT got criticized for having the person, removed from the Honda Classic or whatever. But like, it's just, I get both sides. Like,
you feel like
people sit there. People sit there and heckle Kobe constantly, sit courtside and just yell at him constantly. And he just has the blinders on.
Right.
But golf's a little different, like golf's a gentleman's game, and it's, you go to Augusta, like you got to love that environment, don't you? I mean, it's an educated fan, but like, you also love waste management.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
you just kind of,
And I mean, we were talking about that earlier, but I was kind of saying that golf goes to every region in the country and a lot of the regions like in the world, and it's an outdoor sport. So you're going to have different places that you're in that have a different vibe and a feel. And like you just mentioned, like Augusta it's the Masters. It is respect and an educated fan, and they golf clap at the right times, and they're patrons. They're not like spectators. And then you're in Scottsdale, and Scottsdale is a different place than Augusta, Georgia. It's going to have a different vibe and a different feel. And I just think that they've leaned into that. And the beauty of it is if it's not for you, you don't have to play. It's not a major championship where you have basically no choice. Like if it's the Phoenix Open, and if it's not for you and you want to skip it, totally understand. Nobody's going to hate you for it. Pick a different spot. There's plenty of tournaments on the calendar, but I think, 15 of the top 20 guys in the world were there this past week. Like, guys are embracing it. And, I having walked inside the ropes with guys, like, I get it on both sides too. I hear, you're able to actually understand what you guys can hear and what you can't. You guys can pretty much hear fucking everything. I mean, it's really, It's not like you can really block it out. Like, yeah, maybe over the shot, you're focused on your aiming point. You miss a little bit more of it. But if somebody really sticks out and screams something, you're going to hear it. You're a human being.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, that's the nature of it. I mean, it's, you go play Valspar in Tampa, and they got the Hooters tent like on hole number like 12 or 13 or whatever it is, and it's like, what you're gonna get. Like, I mean, if you go play at Quail Hollow or something, it's probably going to be a little different, and like you said, there's plenty of guys that want to play. So if you don't want to play, there's an alternate list of guys waiting to get into the tournament.
Right.
So, and how good was the leaderboard? I looked at the final leaderboard, top 10. I mean, stout, like really good leaderboard. John Rahm and Brooks and Xander and Cantlay and Scheffler. Like, it was a really good showing of a lot of really high class, world class players at the top. So clearly the course is a good test because it's bringing out the best players, and and the guys are playing. So, I mean, I love it. It's great.
Probably the last year of throwing beers, though. If there's a Harmon out there and somebody else gets pegged with one of those things, I got to think
they got to figure that out.
That's
because
probably
even JT, right? Because JT chipped in,
and
then
that was
chucking
mayhem.
beers.
Yes.
So I I guess you could say I opened the floodgates a little bit on that one, like, because once they were like, "This is our move," it reminded me of hockey. Like, guys get a hat trick and they just start throwing hats, whatever, like minor league games. They throw stuff. Yeah, that's true. Hats, not beer cans too. Yeah, they wear aluminum pints though. At least they weren't like metal glass or glasses.
It's true.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna go to just don't give it right, because they had those aluminum like Coors Light cans is what it looked like everybody was throwing. Whereas like I wonder
What's
even
the
if
safest.
Yeah, if they just went to like
you gotta go to like a styrofoam cup.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like because There's no way
Just
they're going to be able to
floats.
just tell everyone like, all right, this year we're not throwing beers. That's just not going to happen.
No.
I know. I was thinking too, because it was like and it's the waste management. So the whole thing is about like being clean and disposing
yeah.
of
Right.
trash and
I was
everything. And
laughing
I'm like
at that too.
looking at this scene. I'm like, there is shit everywhere.
Places
And
just
like,
creating
to
business
their
for
credit,
themselves.
that should be like one of their commercials or whatever, is like the time lapse of all the people out there with their bags and them just getting through all
Such
that
a
stuff.
good
Like
point. Like, what better tournament to just have garbage all over the green than the waste management? That's fucking. And they
just
managed
managed
all
it.
the waste.
If we can clean up
They managed it
Scottsdale,
really
we can clean
well.
up anything. Just as
Wow.
their Logan.
That's really good
It's
stuff.
perfect. So you in, where are we at? LA now?
yeah.
Hell yeah. You like Riviera? Everybody raves about Riv.
Yeah, I've made the cut here and I missed the cut. I haven't done anything super great, but the course itself, it's like you go in the locker room and Larry David's locker's there, and the course is like, it's just like one of those, like, out on the West Coast, I compare it to like something on the East where it's like just a player favorite. Like you got Shinnecock or you got Oakmont or like some of these, courses that are old and just stand the test of time. Like it's just a really cool vibe. Have you been out to this tournament?
I haven't been to it. Riviera is, for me, it's on my top 5 bucket list. I just heard it's phenomenal. I heard, like you're just saying, it's sort of the, kind of the prestigious, like East Coast, feel to it, except it's in LA and the people rave about the golf course and the architecture and the history and coming up 18, that giant hill. Although I did hear, who was it? Somebody's caddy was telling me going up that hill on 18 after you were at is like the worst part of their whole year.
Yeah, I mean that hill is definitely no joke, but it's one of those places where you kind of it's like the more time you spend in the place, the more you start to like it.
Yeah.
You're just like the nuances of the course and the architecture. It's really hard, especially this time with equipment changes and guys being so good and hit it so far. Like courses that are old, like they just become obsolete, and how do you manage that? And how do you have something that's a good test, but also not goofy? Like, because every week they could make it Mickey Mouse with pin positions or rough being ridiculous or the greens, are kind of at the mercy of the weather. But it's one of those places where it just kind of seems like it stands the test of time really well. And you're always going to get good winners. And I mean, it's just, I'm not like, I'm from Florida, grew up in Central Florida. I mean, I don't love, like, LA is not my favorite place in the world. I do like it for a week or a couple weeks or whatever, but when you're there, it's a little different feel, and I'm staying in Santa Monica. So it's a pretty nice, fun week, invitational, smaller field.
Not
so
bad.
Not
No,
bad.
it
Not
sounds
bad.
pretty
You're,
good. We can Santa Monica,
you're
make
just
the cut,
the-
enjoy yourself.
You're just the ace guy now. I mean, you're
The ace guy.
That's like when you're gonna get it for the rest of your career, no matter where you're at, even if it's not a rowdy environment. When you're walking by, people be like, "Oh,
I got a couple at the
great
airport.
ace."
So
Did
much
you
so
really?
that he's got a radio interview to go do right now. I just got the email, so you're a little late to that one. We've taken you for too long, so
Thank you,
no
Sam.
worries.
You're
Enjoyed
a
being
wanted
with you
man
guys.
right now in golf media.
You're wanted.
You have an ace, and you're just on all these shows.
I enjoyed being with you guys. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
when we get
We'll
more
do
time for
some-
sure.
Yeah, we'll do more of a long sit down. We can really get into it. But congratulations, you're the ace guy now. Good thing to be known for.
Sounds good. I'll take it.
Thanks, Sam.
Sam.
Good luck this week.
Thanks
All
for
right.
joining
Thanks.
us, man.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having me.
it. All right, big thanks to Sam Ryder. Good dude. We got to get him on for longer. He's somebody I feel like we could chit chat with for hours.
Yeah,
Super personable.
Set that up, and there was supposed to be 15 minutes, and I told whoever his media manager was or something, yeah, no problem, we get him in and out, thanks. He has a radio interview after. I mean, that was a 35-minute interview, no problem.
Welcome to
So-
foreplay. Yeah. We'll talk
Yeah,
about it for about
yeah.
5 minutes real quick. Yep.
I was like, yeah, we'll just talk about the ace, and we'll get him out of there, no problem, in and
Just
out.
quick. Yeah, it'll take two seconds. Last thing that we wanted to make sure that we touched on was Sahith Theegala, who was one of the best stories of the entire week. Maybe the best story of the entire week outside of the waste management. Yes, we're pumped for our boy Scottie Scheffler, the ace, Sam Ryder. Really cool, the event. Great for golf. We had all those talks. Theegala's story and the way that he took over the tournament, he was clearly the fan favorite throughout the entire weekend. Ended up finishing one shot back out of the playoff at 15 under par. Tied for third. He had the emotional embrace meeting with his family afterwards, and you could tell how devastated he was. He had, I believe, at one point on the front nine, I think he had a 3-shot lead, but there are some big names. People are chasing him down. It's very difficult to close. He got a horrible bounce on 17. He had a pretty damn good shot, actually, off the tee, a little 2-iron thing that he hit that got an awful hard left kick, ended up in the water, and he ends up 1 shot out of the playoff. I did like that he was aggressive.
He made an interesting quote on that too. Did you like? So
What'd he
he
say?
dropped on 17. He felt so he placed the ball on that like steep slope there, and he was worried that the ball was going to roll back in the water. And I didn't know if you were going to take, because like Charley Hoffman talked about rules and all this. So he was like, I think I was a little bit quicker with my swing there. Anyways, I made a horrible chip, horrible putt, because he was fearful of the ball rolling back into the water. And I didn't know if Riggsy Rulebook was going to jump in at that time, but I mean, he like
What does that mean? What is
saying
Riggsy Rulebook? What does that mean?
Riggsy Rulebook.
Well, didn't Charley Hoffman what he was complaining about the USGA and the stupid rules? Of
Yeah,
the ball moves
I
after
think that
placement.
would be the same rule.
Yeah, it'd be a similar wavelength. So I was just didn't know if you want, because Charlie anointed you along with all of like
True, he did appoint
Saudi.
me. I'm the only individual that he,
Right. Along
recommended
with Saudi
take
and
care
everybody
of the
else.
situation.
This is one of those situations where Lurch missed the Charley Hoffman talk in the beginning.
No, I was there for that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that's why I referenced it there, saying because Riggs was like
a little
the
callback.
only person he mentioned.
Little callback is what we
Little
call
callback.
in the
In the
That's
biz, little
right.
callback
Wow.
here in the
well,
biz.
the way you said it, I thought you were like explaining that Charley Hoffman did that tweet for the first time.
No. I was just nobody caught the callback, so then I had to explain the callback, which is maybe the worst place to be in the callback term.
It's a bad callback zone. I want to talk
Like a
about
bad
Theegala
joke.
for a second.
Callback.
That guy's fucking parents just mucking it up with the crowd. It was one of the funniest laugh out loud moments you'll ever see. They have all of these just college bro, ASU, Arizona guys going fucking crazy. And then you just see his parents jumping up and down, being like, woohoo! Just along for the ride, as crazy as can be. I'll say, Theegala, he's an emotional roller coaster, man. Like crying after in the interview, just saying like how much it meant to him, and when he played well, he would give people the ears. I can't fucking hear you. It's just like this guy's a firecracker. So it was fun to watch him. I was rooting hard for him. It was a really good story. 18. It's like he was coming down. He played it a little safe. It was a very strange way that 18 came in. Is like almost felt like he wasn't playing for the birdie. It's like, does he know he needed a birdie? He like came up short. It just wasn't aggressive enough. I'm like, this guy, does he know he has to chip in now? Every time I wanted to like strangle him and be like, hello.
Well, I think he knew he was making mistakes. Like
he knew he was making mistakes.
You thought
I know.
that was an intentional.
No, the second shot was just weird
right.
to me. No, I know.
It just came out like shittily.
I know
it
did.
Yeah,
I know.
He ran that chip by close though. I was
did.
really on the Theegala.
I thought he gave that chip a good run. That was I want to win this tournament kind of run.
Scottie Scheffler was like, ooh, for a second he's like, that almost went in.
I mean how emotional he was, I think, was a big part of the reason the fans were just obsessed with him. We don't get that enough in golf. We talk about it all the time, and occasionally that type of reaction, that type of emotion on every shot can turn people off. Some people get turned off to like Jordan Spieth about it, and that he's so much. But man, when you get somebody in a sport that's typically pretty boring, shot by shot, it's just pretty boring. When you get somebody that's like living and dying on every moment, and the crowd, it's fucking awesome to see. And he became an enormous fan favorite, and I think will be for a long time. And the fact that his family was there with their heart just on their sleeves the entire tournament as well. Mm-hmm. If you weren't rooting for that dude, you fucking suck.
I agree. And I think a sneaky victory though for him at the end. So 17 makes what he makes, kind of falls off the lead. Now he's got to get birdie to go back into this playoff and potentially go to the extra holes. He lost like a considerable amount of money, which I started to now think about, because makes the score, not going to win, chips it way by. Now he's got like a 15-footer, maybe 10-footer down the hill that he needs to make. Koepka pours one in to go to 1 off the lead. So now he's at 15. So now there's 2 people at 1 and 2 people tied at 3. If he misses that 15-footer or 10-footer down the hill, he goes into a 3-way tie for 3rd. Now he finished in a 3-way tie for 5th. He finished in a three-way tie for 3rd because he made that putt. Probably saved himself 200 or 300 grand, which
Right.
I started to think about for the big man. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
there was
especially
so all the
coming
guys
from Corn Ferry.
all the guys that finished tied for third got $434,000. The guys that finished tied for sixth got $287,000.
Yeah.
There you go. Big putt,
$200,000
especially
difference.
coming from the Corn Ferry. And
that would have
to
been
get into the logistics of it, if he misses that, there's a higher dollar allocated. Like I think
Right.
that delta separates. You know what I mean?
right. So it would have been even higher. So yeah, it would have
Right.
been a 150, 200K swing for that putt for a man who needs. We say it one thing when it's Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth battling,
Right.
fine. When it's Theegala, our guy who's fucking
God.
entering this world for the first time, and his family lives with his fucking parents, and he makes that $200,000 putt coming down the hill. After, by the way, like the emotion has already been ripped out of you. You've already not won. You're already like it's called a fucking downer that you're on. He's already down, and now he's got to get back up and make a $200,000 downhill putt, and he made it. So he's awesome. What a great week. What a great week for golf. Hashtag good for golf.
Good
Hashtag
hashtag,
good for golf.
Richie. Good one.
Great
Hashtag
good
good for
hashtag.
golf.
You like that one, don't you, Lurchy boy?
It's a good one. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
hashtag.
Fantastic for golf.
Ooh.
All right. We're done here. Everybody make sure you tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got Tommy Fleetwood on the YouTube Foreplay channel. Let's go, Tommy. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit hard.